I'm going no contact with my mother-in-law. Trigger warning for mentions of miscarriage. I, 27 female, am engaged to my fiancé, 29 male. We had been close friends for 3 years before becoming a couple. And once we got together, we were absolutely inseparable.
Aww.
After about 2 months of dating, we fell in love and decided to start a family.
Oh, wow. Quick.
I'm sorry.
Get after it.
After 2 months of dating?
Why wait?
I know it was quick and may seem impulsive to outsiders.
Yes.
But it genuinely felt like one of those when you know moments that people talk about. No,
Hey, they know. You know when
2
you know.
months and you decide to have a kid together? That's crazy.
Maybe you just haven't met that person
No,
yet.
that's crazy. You have to, that's not enough time to talk about if you want to send your child to public or private school, if you want to raise them in this place that you're living in or somewhere else.
If
That's
Angie and I
not
had the
enough time.
resources, we definitely would have a kid by now.
That's not true.
You don't know me.
Yeah, I know her.
We just don't have the resources right now.
I know Angie. By the way, this comes from CharacterFly1891 on the r/2hottakes subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Keon, and he's calling Angie.
I had only met his mom a couple of times before getting pregnant, and we never really connected. She didn't make much effort to get to know me, which I initially attributed to her being naturally reserved. His sister, on the other hand, seemed genuinely nice at first, but over time, things became increasingly complicated in ways I never saw coming.
You didn't see that coming.
I also want to say, we read a story in another episode, folks who weren't here, about a guy who thought it was weird that his girlfriend was getting super close to these like coworkers after 2 months of the coworker and his family after 2 months of knowing him. This is what you should have been upset about.
Yeah.
This would be if you got upset about this thing of them knowing each other for 2 months. I'd be like, yeah, I respect that. When our first baby was born, I didn't have any boundaries in place. I was just excited and wanted everyone to be part of our child's life. His mom visited us shortly after the birth, but the visit was incredibly awkward. My mom, who was living with us at the time, had to go back to work, leaving me alone trying to make conversation with a woman who barely engaged with me and showed interest in her new grandchild because she doesn't know you.
Yeah.
She doesn't know you. I'm sorry. If I had a child and that child got pregnant 2 months after knowing someone and they were like, it was on purpose, I'd be like, okay. Okay.
That would be weird.
The first real red flag came when his sister asked when we'd be coming down to their hometown 2 hours away so she could meet the baby.
Oh.
So how old are they?
So when are you coming up here? They're 26, 29.
Okay.
So when are you going to come up here to see the baby? Oh, we're not going down there. When are you going to come see us?
I was genuinely annoyed by the request. When she had her baby, we went out of our way to visit her, and I couldn't imagine asking a brand new mother to travel with a newborn. Later, I discovered that she and their mom had already been in our area multiple times, but simply chose not to stop by. That really stung. As time went on, they came to our city several more times without visiting. Yet, when we didn't stop by once while we were in their town, it sparked a massive fight. His sister brought up an entire list of grievances from the past year, mostly centered around our gender reveal and baby shower. She accused my family of judging them, which was particularly hurtful since my family had been the ones hosting these events and were so busy they didn't even have time to sit down and eat. His mom called me claiming she wanted to clear the air, but instead ended up talking over me for the entire conversation.
Oh my gosh. I can't. I can't.
And
with these
see,
people.
okay,
I can't. Like,
this is why you date longer than 2 months before you have kids, because you don't know her family at all.
well, it's also not it's the family that's the issue, not him.
I agree.
But
he could have known that they were a problem before the whole having kids thing.
no, I'm happy they're in love. People have met sooner than that and been in love. I'm not. That's not the issue to me.
I think
What's
there's a
the
difference
issue?
between being in love and having a child 2 months into a relationship.
You know what? I don't.
Okay.
I think they're the same.
That's crazy.
Always.
That's crazy.
The perspective, and it kind of feels like a little bit of a victim mindset, or like everyone is wrong but us with the sister and the mom, which is very concerning because you're going to have a relationship with these people now. You're going to have to share Christmases and Thanksgivings. some solution has to come afoot quickly or low contact is in order.
Yeah. Awesome Ashley says they should have really met each other's extended families before they went further. That's my thought process.
Yeah.
And also, Kim Roberts does bring up a good point. They did know each other for a few years before dating. But that's like, I think there's definitely a big difference between knowing each other as friends and date. Like, there's a lot of things that you find out.
Something in the way.
Like, we don't know how close of friends they were.
I don't know. I think if you were friends with someone for a while and then you start dating and then you get married, that's kind of cool.
They didn't say any of that.
But we don't know how they feel inside. We don't know what their insides are feeling towards each other.
Personally, I'm totally fine with them saying that they love each other, saying they got married 2 months. Sure. My only qualm is that
They decided to have a baby 2 months after dating.
that's crazy.
What if you've known someone for 5 years?
I don't care.
5 years?
Unless you have, it happens accidentally. It happens.
What about-
Things happens accidentally all the time. Sure,
Disagree.
gotta figure it out.
Disagree.
That's crazy to me. To purposely have a baby 2 months after starting dating.
Yeah.
You don't
Is
even know. You
irresponsible
don't
to
even
me.
like. Yes, sure, you know each other, but do you really know each
You
other?
don't.
I think if let's say they've been friends for 3 years, they've kind of had a crush on each other, then they date for 2 months, and they're like, no, let's just do it. Let's pull the trigger. I'm 26, you're 29. Let's make it happen.
No
I'm ready
That's
for it.
crazy.
That's insane.
That's insane. Thank you, Keon, because I thought I was going crazy. I was like,
No, that's insane. Because
insane.
you can be BFFs with somebody, but once you start dating somebody,
You learn so much more
it's
about them.
totally different. Your
But that's the
entire-
Totally
consequence.
different.
I'm not saying that it's perfect at all. I'm saying that's the consequence to it. You have the decision to do that. Do I think it's smart?
Yeah, of course.
It's a little
No, but that's what I'm
reckless, but that's
saying.
like that's them, and like they can do that, and they can
course
fill
they
their life
can.
out. Just don't. My only thing is if this doesn't work out long term, this was stupid. But if this works out long term, this is amazing.
Yeah,
and I love that for them.
I don't think
It just
I
has to
hope
work
it
out
does.
long term.
I hope it works out long term. I'm not wishing the worst on them. I'm just saying it's very irresponsible. She told me I needed new friends and offered only a half-hearted acknowledgement that the judging might have been a misunderstanding. His sister then had the audacity to tell me I needed to make my family change their behavior after that conversation. I didn't speak to her for several months. Eventually, she apologized, but it felt completely forced. My fiancé later admitted he had begged her to do it. From that point forward, our relationship became increasingly distant and strained. We experienced a pregnancy that ended in a miscarriage, and 4 months later, I was pregnant again.
Oh, that's
Okay.
so sad.
We told my family first, then his sister, and finally his mom. When I posted the ultrasound in a group chat, thinking everyone had been informed, we discovered his brother hadn't been told yet, which turned into another massive fight. His sister complained that it was unfair we had told my family first, as if there should have been some kind of formal protocol for sharing our own pregnancy news. Later, I posted something general on social media about how if people don't check in on my child, I won't be putting effort into those relationships either. She immediately claimed it was directed specifically at her. It absolutely wasn't, and launched into yet another fight, bringing their mom into it as well. They brought up more manufactured issues from the past year, including the absurd claim that I never thanked their mom for gifts she sent. I had texts, phone calls, and video chats to prove otherwise, but facts didn't seem to matter to them. One example they cited was a Valentine's gift I had allegedly ignored. I had actually forgotten to acknowledge it for a few days because I was deep in a first trimester morning sickness and could barely function. I decided to call his mom directly to address these accusations. She ended up literally screaming at me over the phone. I started crying, which finally made her stop yelling. She accused me of being the reason her son doesn't call her anymore, or deliberately tearing their family apart, and several other completely unfounded claims. It was absolutely awful.
Why does this family resort to pure chaos?
Yeah.
What is going on? Like, why are we not having meaningful understanding and giving each other this simple thing called grace?
None of these people are reasonable.
Just a little bit of leeway. If you don't agree with someone, why are we going scorched earth? What?
When our second baby was born, I had learned my lesson and set much clearer boundaries. I decided on no hospital visits except for my mom and sister, who were genuinely my support system. His mom kept calling repeatedly asking if she could come anyway, completely ignoring what we'd already communicated. My fiancé suggested she just call and offer to bring flowers, which upset me because it put me in an awkward position of having to say no again. She ultimately didn't come, but was very obviously upset about the boundary. 3 days after our baby was born, my dad passed unexpectedly.
Oh my gosh.
That's so tough.
Sorry, OP.
That's really tough. I'm so sorry. While I was grieving and dealing with postpartum recovery, we had to travel for the funeral. That's just so much to deal with. His mom and sister said they wanted to attend, but I suspected it was primarily to see the new baby rather than support us during our loss.
Oh, God. So many people are weird.
Yeah,
around
I mean, just like
funerals.
so many
weird.
ulterior motives. After the funeral, his mom asked if we could stop by their house, but we declined. We were emotionally and physically completely drained. They were visibly angry about this decision. A few weeks later, she visited our home. My mom was there initially, but when she left to go next door, his mom abruptly announced she had to leave too. She didn't say goodbye to the kids and literally slammed our front door on her way out. My fiancé followed her outside, where she exploded about being upset that she couldn't kiss the children. We had established a no kissing rule during illness season. Yeah, because we don't want our kids to get sick.
Dude, an older lady at the church we were going to when I was younger kissed my Sawyer on the head, and he got like
Cold stone.
sick, and he had to have like a breathing thing for his lungs.
See,
I forget what it's called, like a
you have to be
respiratory lung
so
thing.
Careful.
Yeah, and it was like,
No, you have to it sucks because everyone wants to kiss the baby, but you
Yep.
got to be like, sorry, you can't kiss the baby because you got illnesses.
You know what? I will kiss a baby if I'm shaking hands and there's a baby that just is like, and I'll go, mwah.
Mwah.
You get a little kiss. You get a little kiss, baby.
She claimed my mom had kissed the baby and nobody cared.
Dang.
But my mom denied this and had actually respected our rule. Apparently, only his mom had witnessed this alleged kiss. Then came another complete meltdown involving his sister, who twisted our words and made outrageous claims about things that never happened.
Oh my gosh.
I sent a lengthy apology text a week later, desperately hoping to smooth things over, but received even more blame and outright lies in return.
Yeah.
I was completely baffled by accusations of things I had supposedly said or done that simply never occurred. Eventually, we made the difficult decision to cut contact entirely. She then posted a passive-aggressive rant about me in a local mom group on Facebook. Everyone in our community knew it was about me. Leave them alone. This lady is so annoying.
Also, husband, father of my child.
Fight for me.
Defend me. Defend me.
Now. And we're going low contact,
Yeah.
which seems like they're already doing it. We need to establish more boundaries there. And information diet.
I agree.
We're all going to lose some weight.
Yep. The post was either complete fabrications or severely twisted versions of events designed to make me look terrible. I responded with actual facts on my own social media page, but there were simply too many lies to address individually. Honestly, block them. You don't need to address lies like this. Doesn't help anyone to keep trying to talk to crazy people or reason with them. Just make sure the relevant people in your life are informed that that's all false, and block her.
Blocked by James!
His mom then called from his brother's phone and screamed at me, calling me a C word along with numerous other derogatory names. My fiance hung up on her. She called back immediately, and he ended up blowing up at her as well. We went completely no contact after that incident. A year later, his sister ran into my fiance and started crying, saying she desperately wants to apologize and make things right. I don't trust her.
I don't either.
I don't trust this.
There is a place where someone admits something was wrong.
Yes, and they actually want to make amends.
And I think they slowly make amends through, careful setups and meetups. And it's a slow process. This very instantaneous. I feel like you can apologize quickly and be sad, but don't expect anything from your apology.
No.
That's what I'm getting at.
I decided to give her the benefit of the doubt because her emotions seemed genuine and sincere.
Oh, God.
However, recently she's reverted to her old passive-aggressive behavior, excluding me from group photos I was a part of, losing our very high Snapchat streak out of nowhere.
This tells me everything I need to know about you, OP.
OP, you
yeah.
had me on your side. And then you mentioned your Snapchat streak, and you
Girl.
lost me.
Like, how's our peace streak going?
You're mad she lost your streak?
I feel like there's other streaks in life we need to prioritize than the Snapchat
Your
one.
Snapchat streak?
How's your I'm gonna go low contact with everyone streak going.
That just made me like totally.
She's out of it, dude. I've never seen her ever react to a story this way. She's viciously and visibly mad right now.
That made me like actually mad.
You were OP. You no longer have the grace or mercy of the Worm Queen.
Oh yeah, you
It is
were
gone.
doing so well. You brought me back after the 2-month, and then I got a baby.
Your streak
comment.
is over.
And making subtle digs. I realize these might seem like small things, but this is exactly how the pattern started the previous times, and I refuse to go through this exhausting cycle again. She's now claiming I'm being fake because I keep their mom at arm's length, despite everything that's happened. She texted me upset that our 3-year-old had napped during her child's birthday party and didn't get to play long enough. Well, that's silly. It's a 3-year-old. I had woken him up thinking we had at least an hour and a half left for him to participate, only to discover we actually had just 45 minutes remaining due to the pool needing to be closed early that day. She also confronted me about hearing that I said I don't like their mom and never intended to have a relationship with her. This was absolutely true. I did say this, and I stand by it. We've seen her exactly 3 times in 7 months, despite her claims of putting in effort. There are little to no phone calls, texts, or any communication asking about the children. Her idea of effort includes asking us to attend a barbecue with less than 48 hours notice when we don't live nearby.
They live 2 hours away, mind you.
Not calling on our son's birthday, but claiming she showed up to the party, and leaving events without even saying goodbye to her son or grandchildren. These behaviors don't even feel like the bare minimum at this point. And there is an update. I think just like keep this like low contact.
Low contact.
Low contact.
Second question.
Yeah.
How is your relationship with your husband going?
Yeah, 'cause
How's the
it feels like-
co-parenting going?
It feels like he's not defending any of this. How is the co-parenting going? Because maybe if you had spent a little bit more time.
I'm helping Sophia out on this. I think they're going to be fine and be happily forever ever after.
I sure hope so. But I am noticing a lot of him defending his family and not defending his partner.
By the way, is your immediate family, because you had a child with her, so you guys are now a little family. Keep that in mind.
But there is an update, folks. His mom and sister have become experts at making me feel completely insane, which is exactly why we kept going back to them despite the toxic pattern. I now realize they're incredibly skilled at manipulation and guilt tripping. They use phrases like, "We're your family no matter what," and "you don't just cut off blood." His sister even tells her children that we just don't want to go see them, making us the villains in their eyes. They constantly manipulate my fiancé with statements like, "I'm your mom, I raised you, and sacrificed so much. I can't believe you treat me this way," or "I'm your sister and you've been my closest brother all my life. It hurts that you won't talk to me now because of her." His sister has called me a self-absorbed person, accused me of brainwashing him, and expressed hope that I won't brainwash her nephews too. I actually started believing these accusations, which led me to therapy, where I was telling my therapist that I needed to be fixed because I was all these terrible things that they claimed.
Oh, wow.
It took months of therapy and reading through all of our messages for my therapist to help me understand that their behavior was their problem, not mine.
Good job, OP, on seeing that and helping yourself out. That is
Yes.
huge, 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 huge.
After she texted me multiple times demanding responses and getting increasingly angry, my fiance finally called her. She listed 3 examples of their mom's effort over 7 months, showing up to a birthday party, inviting us to a barbecue, and sending flowers on my birthday. When he pointed out that wasn't real effort, she got defensive.
I
But
don't like the way he did that. Sorry.
You know what is real effort?
What's that, Sophia?
Listening to full episodes with stories just like this.
But where?
Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime if
And-
you want to put an effort into our relationship.
And what's going to be there?
So many stories, so many episodes.
Sorry. Just trying to be bouncy.
But there is a little bit left to the story.
Dude,
Do you have any final thoughts?
I feel like the husband could have said, thank you. Those were efforts, but over the course of 7 months, our expectation of efforts was XYZ,
Yeah.
and you haven't met that, and it
You
doesn't
haven't
feel
met
like
that.
you are
Want
interested
to.
in that, and it
Mhm.
feels like it's transactional. Because effort in a relationship should not feel transactional whatsoever.
No,
It should be
like, I'm doing this to get something.
yeah, it should be like, oh, I love you. I'm doing this because of this, that, and the other, and just it's cool. It's great, and this
agree.
doesn't have the heart of that at all.
Agreed. I really think that you need to limit contact with these people and also talk to your partner
Oh yeah.
and figure out why we are still having contact with them so much when they're treating you guys like this.
Yeah. This is crazy.
But there is a little bit left. During our final conversation, I told her directly that 7 months of performative behavior doesn't erase years of disrespect. When she asked when I would stop bringing up the past, I replied when it stops repeating itself. Otherwise, it's not actually in the past. She accused me of being fake for not engaging with her mom beyond basic greetings. When I asked how that was fake, she said, "Exactly. My mom says you won't have real conversations with her." The irony wasn't lost on me. Moving forward, I completely am removing myself from this toxic dynamic and letting my fiancé decide what he wants to do with his time regarding his family. I'm secure in our relationship and know he won't allow them to disrespect me. I'm choosing my peace over theirs, and I've removed his sister from all social media platforms. The emotional toll has been too high, and I refuse to repeat this cycle. Sometimes the healthiest choice is walking away, even from family.
Yeah.
And that is the end of that story, folks.
Oh my gosh. Myra had a really good comment. Why is OP giving them so much power?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, and Kimberly Fine says, and honestly, it's wild that the family got 7 months, but the husband only needed 2 to start a whole fresh and crispy family.
That's the end of that story.
My fiance had unfair financial demands, so I gave back the ring.
Not my precious.
My fiance Tom, 37 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for 2 years. He moved into my house 6 months ago and proposed 1 month ago. I thought things were solid, but now I'm questioning everything. By the way, this comes from user Independent B8517, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
I'm Carly.
And we'll try to give our best advice, but nobody's perfect. But we haven't experienced most of these situations ourselves, so if you have, let us know what you do in the comments. I inherited a fortune 3 years ago. It changed my life, but I live below my means. I work part-time as a teacher, travel, and have a non-profit in the works. I budget carefully so the money lasts. Only my dad and sister know the full amount. When Tom moved in, I paid everything except mostly groceries. He wanted us to eventually buy a bigger house together so his dad could move in. I said no to living with in-laws, but suggested maybe a separate unit someday. He pushed back, but agreed we needed to discuss finances first. Tom earns about $10,000 a month and has $100,000 saved. I have millions invested and about $40,000 a month income from it. When I told him, he was shocked. He said if I had so much, why not just buy the house and cover everything? I explained that just because I can doesn't mean I should. I proposed separate finances, a joint account for expenses, and splitting costs proportionally to income. I also told him I wanted a prenup. That's when things blew up. He argued we should be equal partners, meaning I buy the house in both our names, even if he doesn't contribute. We fought about this for days. Eventually, he gave me an ultimatum. Final offer. You buy the house. We each own 50%. I'll sign the prenup. Take it or leave it. I asked if that meant breaking up if he said no. He hesitated, but said yes, so I left it. I took off the ring, told him it was over, and that he needed to move out. He backtracked.
Wait. It was all a joke. I am a comedian. I was just joking.
Saying he didn't want to end things. He just wanted me to agree. He accused me of throwing away our relationship for money. I told him he threw it away by demanding I fund our life and give him half of the assets I worked to protect. Now I'm wondering if I sabotaged my relationship. I love him, but I don't think it's fair to bankroll a grown man or accept ultimatums about my own money. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments. Comment 1. I learned a long time ago that if a couple can't agree on how to handle money, they should not be together. It's one of the biggest stressors in a relationship. Also, I wouldn't want an in-law living with us either. Guess who would probably be saddled with the majority of father-in-law's care? It's almost always the woman. Not overreacting, not the a-hole. Comment 2, not the a-hole. He sabotaged the relationship by holding it hostage to guilt you into funding his lifestyle. Reply to that says he just had the wrong mindset completely. If you're married, you're a team. If the house is in her name, your name, y'all's name, you're both living there and intend to stay together. So, when she told him the extent of her wealth, roughly $12 million if she's following the 4% rule, his first thought should have been expecting a prenup. You don't marry into money and expect to have half of it. You can reasonably expect to benefit from it, but only as a result of the wealthy person loving your broke butt. What do you bring to the table, buddy? Comment 3, he already shifted from dating you to dating your money. Emotionally, he left the relationship first. Sadly, some of his words cannot be taken back and will change the way you feel about him. It is okay to be sad and regret the loss of what could have been. Life is an effing adventure. Time to go live a new chapter, not the a-hole. And there's an edit. When we first started dating, he understandably questioned how I managed my lifestyle on a teaching salary. I explained that I had a small inheritance, which allowed me to buy my house and have some savings to live on. I admit I may have been wrong to be vague, but at the time, we were just starting to date, and I wasn't comfortable sharing all the details yet. My house is nice, but nothing extravagant, and during our relationship, we always split expenses 50-50. Dates, trips, everything. When he moved in, I offered to keep covering the utilities since I was already paying them, and he would handle groceries. Things were fine until after we got engaged. I pushed for us to discuss everything openly before marriage, and we agreed on most things. About his father moving in, this isn't something he wants right away, but he says eventually his dad would move in so he can take care of him. I adore his father, but I personally don't want to live with in-laws. His solution was that we should buy another house together, so he would feel like it's our home instead of him living in my house. I understood that perspective, but the new house would also have to be larger if his dad were to move in, which I'm not comfortable with. Regarding finances, initially, when we discussed buying another house, the plan was to contribute together. But once we started looking at what we could afford, we had to lay our finances on the table. When he found out my net worth, everything shifted. He said that if we split 50-50, we couldn't afford a bigger house, and since I had the means, I should buy the house myself, but it would still be our house. I told him that whatever amount he contributes would equal his share of equity in the property. Maybe I was naive, but until this point, I never saw signs of him being a gold digger. He never pressured me to pay for things and always split expenses fairly. That's why this change has been such a shock. Right now, I'm locked in my bedroom, and I told him he can sleep in the guest room tonight, but that he needs to move out tomorrow. We haven't spoken since, and that's where things stand. We've got an update here. This morning, I woke up, and Tom had made breakfast and asked if we could talk. He said things got out of control last night, and he wanted to explain his side. It's like nothing that you say anymore can have any meaningful weight because it's clear that you are just obsessed with the money.
Bottom line is, it's about the money, Spider-Man.
Yeah. He told me he was upset that I had lied about my finances and felt like I didn't trust him. He said the money difference made him feel that I would always have more power in the relationship and that he might be vulnerable to financial abuse. He insisted that he wasn't interested in my money, but wanted to feel that I would choose him over money. He admitted that he handled things badly and should never have reacted the way he did or given me an ultimatum. He said he felt lost and frustrated. The only thing he emphasized really matters to him is his father eventually moving in. They're very close and he wants to take care of him as he gets older. He apologized, said he didn't want to lose me, and told me he was willing to accept my conditions. I apologized for not being upfront about my inheritance, but I also told him I wasn't sure I could continue the relationship. His reaction last night felt entitled and manipulative, and I'm afraid he was showing me who he really is. I told him I love him, but I'm worried money will always be an issue between us. If he's already pushing for a house before marriage, what else might he push for later? I explained that the only way I could even consider continuing is if he agreed to a bulletproof prenup, stating that in case of divorce, he only leaves with what he contributed and nothing more, agreeing to buy a house together, but his equity would only reflect his contribution. I also suggested options like a guest house for his father or a condo nearby, but not living directly with us, creating a monthly budget where we both contribute proportionally to our incomes into a joint account for shared expenses while keeping our separate accounts for personal money, and going to counseling together. By the way, the next best thing to going to counseling together would be listening to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime and you've got over 73 days worth of stories to listen to. He agreed to all of these points. Still, I told him I don't know if I can trust him again and need time to think. He agreed to go stay in a hotel for a few days to give us both space. Right now, I honestly don't know what to do. Part of me sees his point and wonders if he just overreacted, but another part of me is afraid that if I ignore his behavior, I'll be setting myself up for bigger problems in the future. I would really appreciate your help in figuring out where to go from here. And there are some comments. Number 1 says, money doesn't change people, but it exposes their true self. Take that information as you will. Comment 2, when he said she, quote, lied about her finances, it rubbed me the wrong way too. She didn't lie. She told him she received an inheritance. She just wasn't detailed about the size of the inheritance she received. Not giving every detail is not lying. The other thing that's annoying me is Tom's concerns about financial abuse. He makes his own money that he keeps. She suggested separate accounts with one for shared expenses, and she did so before his ultimatum. I'm failing to see how OP is going to financially abuse Tom when he has access to his own money. Reply. And now he's manipulating again because he still wants the money. I agree. It sounds like a lot of his things where he was like, all right, what's like the most bulletproof, like, things that I can say? What are the buzzwords that I can throw in there that'll make her sympathetic and make her forgive me?
And my favorite part is that, okay, honey, I'll give you just a couple days to figure it out. You should be okay. That couple days is all we need.
Fundamentally, it's over as soon as you're like gonna be like, yeah, no, then we'll just call the whole thing off unless you do this.
He tripled down. You're like, wait, say that one more time. You want to do this? Yeah, but like I'm altering the plan a little bit more, but still same plan. And you're like, no, okay. If I don't agree with you, then you're giving me an ultimatum. And if I say no, we're breaking up. He literally said, yeah.
And I feel like he did that because he got a catch-22 in his own brain where he's like, well, if I said that and now I say no, then it'll almost confirm that I won't split us up because I want the money. So I have to say yes, but then as soon as she agreed and was like, all right, then we'll split up, he's like, no, wait.
That's not how it went in my brain. That's not how it played out. You were supposed to say, okay, dang.
I invited my ex-fiance's father to my wedding, even though she cheated.
Papa's home.
I was with my ex-fiance for 5 years. When we were just months into our relationship, I lost my dad in a car accident. By the way, this comes from user opening pitch 703093. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
And I'm Riley.
Happy
the other
birthday.
one.
Yeah,
No,
happy birthday.
no, the other one.
But yeah, I mean, yay.
Yeah.
Different Riley.
Come back in January.
And I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but you know, we're not geniuses who know everything. We don't have all the answers, guys. Come on. He was the only parent I had left since mom passed away when I was 12 from breast. My dad was always a good guy and a great father, but ever since mom passed away, he stepped up big time for me and became the best dad he could be, even while struggling with mom's passing. He never dated after her because he always said she was the love of his life and that he would rather pass away alone than be with someone else. He also heard too many horror stories about stepmoms and didn't want anyone interfering in my relationship with him. So losing him when I was 22 and had just graduated college was tough on me. But my then girlfriend, Emily's family, took me in as one of their own. Her younger brothers treated me like a brother, and her parents treated me like a son, especially her dad, George. One night, after Dad's funeral, I was over at Emily's house. I sat at midnight with her dad alone on their porch, and I just cried. I talked about my dad, and George just listened to me, comforted me, hugged me, and let me cry on his shoulder. He told me it was going to be all right, and that they were all there for me. Ever since that night, he treated me like a son. He even took me out to do things, just the two of us, and he always called me son. He was still a great dad to his kids, but I felt he went the extra mile to make me feel included and loved, which I deeply appreciated. I even started calling him dad sometimes, out of respect and love, which I knew made him proud by the look on his face whenever I said it. I still loved my dad and always will, but I loved George nearly as much. When I finally decided to propose to Emily, I asked George for his permission. He accepted, shook my hand, hugged me, and told me to always take care of his little girl. He said he was happy for us and gave me his blessing, which Emily accepted. He offered to pay for our wedding as a gift, which I was grateful for, and we accepted. But just months before the wedding, I found out Emily was cheating on me for well over a year. She was planning to marry me and then divorce a few months later to screw me out of the house my dad left me so that she and her affair partner could move in together.
Oh,
Whoa.
I'm really having to cling on to what I just said. I was
Wow.
like, it'll be okay as long as we have these funny goofs, and then immediately got slammed.
I called off the wedding. Thankfully, nothing was in her name yet, and she never lived with me, so she had no rights to my house or assets. I had hundreds of messages between her and her partner discussing how they were going to screw me over, and I showed her family. They were upset and angry with her, especially her dad. He personally came over and apologized for what she did. I told him it wasn't his fault, and it didn't change how I saw him. We tried to remain close, but my ex demanded that they all cut contact with me, or she would cut them off. Her dad called me one last time, sadly saying he had to cut contact because she was still his little girl. I thanked him for everything, told him I still loved him and his family, and asked him to tell them all goodbye. He wished me a happy life, and that was the last I officially heard from them. But that's what his family thinks. In reality, George and I secretly stayed in contact. Not as much as before, but we checked in every once in a while. He genuinely loved me, and I loved him back. And at that point, it had nothing to do with his daughter. He was like an uncle to me. It's been 3 years since we broke up. I've moved on, and months later, I started dating one of my closest childhood friend's little sister, who is a widow and a single mom of 2 beautiful little girls. Her brother pushed us into it, saying we'd be perfect together. Her late husband had passed away 5 years ago in a car crash while she was still pregnant with their second daughter. That connected us even more since I lost my own dad in the same way. The youngest wasn't even born when it happened and is still too young to understand. But the older daughter is 9 years old, and she remembers her dad. And she often talks to me about how much she misses and loves him. She asks whether he's in heaven, and I always tell her, of course he is, looking down on her and proud of her and her sister. And that always makes her so happy. 2 months ago, with her father's approval, which is a cultural thing here, I proposed to her. She said yes, and we kissed and cried. The girls were with us, clapping happily and excited for us. We've been planning our wedding, which is next month, and finalizing our guest list. Honestly, I want to invite George because he stayed in contact and was supportive of me when I got with my fiancé, but I know it will cause drama. Still, he's one of the few people left that feel like family to me, and I want him there. My fiancé is completely aware and supportive of our relationship and says it's up to me. Would I be an a-hole if I quietly invited just him, or would it be too far and awkward? And there are comments, but I would confidently say no. You wouldn't be the a-hole for inviting your dad, essentially your surrogate father, to your wedding.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Do it.
Because what? His cheating daughter will be upset about it? Two Dogs Life absolutely think you should invite him. But I would tell him first and ask him where he wants you to send the invitation. Maybe to avoid drama. He wants it sent to work or somewhere else. You don't mention his wife, but it's standard good manners that you invite spouses. So she would be included in the invitation. It's up to them to decide if they accept and if they both attend or only one does. I wish you only the best. Congratulations on your upcoming marriage. OP says, thanks. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. His wife was so nice and sweet to me, and he always says she asks about me sometimes. Tall Charge 4150 says, ask George. Tell him you want him there, but you understand he has to put his family first. Ask him to come and ask him if it is appropriate for an official invitation. He sounds like a wonderful man. OP replies, I already talked to him, and he said he'd be honored to come, but would also understand if I don't invite him. Cultural Surprise 299 says, I don't understand the point of your post. You already talked to him. He said he'd be honored to be there, asked and answered. OP says, on one hand, I want him there because he's the closest thing I have to real family. I don't have uncles, aunts, grandparents, or parents. And on the other hand, this might start drama. Little Taipan 9762 says, looks like he already answered that concern in your comment above when he said he'd be honored to come. I think he understands the risks, sees you as a son, and would love to attend, but doesn't want to pressure you. Probably because your fiancé may be uncomfortable with your ex's family coming to your wedding. Since she understands and supports you, invite him. Tell him you understand if he can't make it for family reasons, and leave it at that. Good luck, and I'm glad you two have kept the relationship going, even if it's not as frequent. You obviously mean a lot to each other. He's a great guy. Pretty much all of you suggested I invite him and just see what happens. And honestly, that's what I was planning to do. You all just gave me the courage to do it. And I did it early this morning. Thanks to all of you, I texted him good morning. And when he responded, I asked whether we could talk on the phone. He said, of course. So I called him. After some small talk, I told him that he was under no pressure and that it was completely up to him, but I'd love for him to be there at my wedding, not just as some guest, but as a close family member. I told him that the invitation was open to him and his entire family, including his wife and the boys. And even my ex, if she wanted to come. He got emotional, wished me a happy wedding, and said he was honored that I still respected him that much. He promised me that at least he would definitely be there for me, but he wasn't sure about his family and said he'd get back to me about it. A few hours later, he called me back excited, saying he talked with his wife and family and that they're all coming. He said that my ex had no problem with it and actually told him to wish me good luck.
Okay, so she's not coming.
He then invited me over to their place for dinner, later tonight because she wanted to apologize for how things went between us. He told me to bring my fiance and the little girls because he and his wife wanted to meet them, especially the girls since she loves children. And by the way, I would love if you listen to full episodes of stories like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. I was so happy to hear that and told him I'd ask my fiance if she was comfortable with it, and he said, of course. I talked with my fiance about everything, and she's been so happy for me because she knows how much George means to me. She agreed to go with me and the girls tonight. I went and got one of those chocolate gift baskets with a nice whiskey bottle inside, along with an official invitation. Thank you to you all. And there are some comments. Federal Internal 2935 says, I think you handled this with so much grace. Inviting him, not just as a guest, but his family, was such a powerful gesture. Glad your fiance is so supportive too. That makes all the difference. OP says, she's the best anyone could ask for. I still don't know how I managed to get someone so beautiful inside and out. Recent section 725 says, great news. Just out of curiosity, how did things turn out for your ex? That was a really horrible thing she tried to do to you. Is she still with the guy she cheated and plotted against you with?
I love the vibes of this person. This is another Reddit who I hope that they just come into Reddit stories like, hey, so glad everything worked out. Quick question, like, what happened with the other person?
Yeah, remember
Like,
the
what's
awful
going
woman who,
on?
like, conspired against you and cheated on you? What's her story?
I just love going into, like, the drama section of
Where's she
Reddit and being like, hey, actually, I could use a little bit more.
Tell me more. OP says, yeah, they're married now. Actually, they had their wedding the same day ours was supposed to happen, since most of the deposits for the venues were already paid and they were non-refundable anyways. They have a son and a daughter on the way. 640 says, did you ever get an explanation on why she tried to con you into this marriage scam? OP says, no, but my dad was a pretty successful guy and he left a life-changing amount of money and a great fully paid off 4-bedroom house, so I could see why she stayed with me and tried to take it. 640 says, thank God you didn't put her name on anything, right? OP says, I probably was never going to put it in her name anyway, even if we had gotten married. I just felt it would be disrespectful to my dad's memory. Same commenter says, just curious, is your new fiance's name on anything? OP says, no, but that was her decision. She's a pretty successful doctor. And I'm just a middle school teacher. Makes way more money than I do. Her parents wanted us to sign a prenup just in case, where she'd keep all her money and assets in case of divorce and I'd keep mine. My house is included in that. And that is the end of that story. What a great way to end a story with a prenuptial agreement. And your hot doctor wife gets to keep all her money. And you get the house.
I got uninvited from a wedding, but my boyfriend still wants to go.
Babe, the guy of the open bar. Come on.
My boyfriend, 35 male, is the best man for his best friend's wedding in a few months. I, 31 female, was originally invited to this wedding as his +1 as well. The wedding is a destination wedding at an extremely expensive resort. All flights and hotels for both of us have been booked and paid for already. By the way, this comes from u/boyfriend wedding help. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Dakota.
I have met the bride and groom to be a handful of times, have always been friendly with them, and was invited to attend their joint bachelor/bachelorette trip as my boyfriend's +1. I attended the weekend trip and had a great time getting to know everyone that will be at the wedding and was really looking forward to seeing everyone again at the wedding. I never felt any sort of animosity and came out of the weekend thinking everyone had a great time partying with each other. Turns out, the bride felt some type of way about me and has uninvited me from the wedding. I have not had any conversations with the bride or groom, but my boyfriend received the news from the groom. From what I heard of the conversation, it seems like the groom doesn't agree with the fiance and was really uncomfortable to deliver the message, but his hands were tied. My boyfriend has received details on what happened to make the bride feel that way towards me. And we both agree that it's a ridiculous overreaction and a huge misunderstanding. Long story short, the bride felt as if I didn't make an effort to make her feel special and was trying to take her spotlight. My boyfriend contacted the other friends who were there that weekend as well, and everyone is in agreement that this is an overreaction and misunderstanding. The thing that bothers me the most is that everything that was listed out that I was doing to make her feel that way, everybody else was doing it as well. Yet it seems like there was a magnifying glass on me and she has a vendetta against me for some reason. My boyfriend thinks it was a series of unfortunate events that started at a house party a few months ago when I beat her in Mario Kart.
She
and
sucks at
everyone
video
was
games!
cheering for me. You're hot. You're a beast at Mario Kart. don't go to the wedding, honestly. Like, you have better things to do. I voiced to my boyfriend that I'm more than willing to have a conversation with the bride to clear the misunderstanding to try to get her to change her mind. But at the same time, I'm not really sure I want to go to this wedding anymore anyways, as I would hate to be somewhere I'm not wanted. My reasoning for going would be more to support my boyfriend and enjoy the vacation with him. That being said, I shared with my boyfriend that if the decision stays and I'm uninvited, I would be upset if he still decided to go without me. OP has reasons for this ultimatum. She says, I may
Okay.
feel differently if, number one, it wasn't as expensive, destination wedding that takes away valuable vacation days he doesn't have a lot of, or two, we were in agreement that my actions justified this decision in any way. For me, him attending without me feels like he's agreeing with the decision and is choosing to stick by his friend over sticking up for me. Am I the a-hole for wanting my boyfriend to back out?
Yes, this isn't about you, honestly.
Aw.
This isn't really about you.
She says, wow, this got way more traction than I ever imagined it would. Thank you all for taking the time to share your thoughts and insights. It's been really helpful for me to read through and help process my emotion. This was all super fresh news when I wrote this out this morning. Oh, and I've had some time to process. I think my next step will be to reach out to the bride to have a talk with her and see exactly from her perspective what went wrong that led her to ultimately make the decision to uninvite me. It's been a game of telephone so far, so it would be helpful to hear it from the source. I plan on apologizing to her during this conversation because even though it may seem like an overreaction and misunderstanding to me and others, what she felt was obviously real and real enough for her to make this decision. My hope from this conversation is that we can at least be cordial moving forward and be friendly for the sake of our men, even if we won't ever be true friends. OP is mature and hot.
There we go.
Edit 2. I've had another night to think about the situation. Reading through this thread, it is really split 50-50. Seeing the different angles of everyone's insight has been super helpful. I'm going to talk to my boyfriend tonight and mention that while my feelings of being upset are valid, it's not on me to dictate whether he should go to the wedding or not. I am understanding of the situation and realize that he should be there to support his best friend through this important life moment. He's made it very clear to me as well that he would be attending to support his friend specifically. I do agree with most of the comments here, telling me that I should just go on the vacation with my boyfriend and have him minimize his time with wedding duties to the necessities only. I will bring this option up with him, and hopefully we're able to come to an agreeable compromise that leaves us both feeling heard and understood. Edit 3. I told my boyfriend that I plan to reach out to the bride to hear her side of the story and apologize for any wrongdoings on my part, but he told me that he doesn't think it's the right time right now, as the groom has been going to bat for us and the bride has been crying a lot. So he'd like the dust to settle. I guess at this point, I'm kind of at a standstill and waiting for a final decision to be made by the bride and groom. The wedding isn't for another few months, so we have some time to hopefully settle this, be on good terms, and maybe even look back and laugh and laugh and laugh at how ridiculous this all was one day. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Just go. And don't go to the wedding?
Yeah, wait, do you already have, like, the travel
Yeah,
arrangements set
because
up?
they said that the ticket was paid for.
Yeah, then
So,
just
like,
go.
yeah, party.
What are you talking
Dude,
about? Just go.
You're a hot Mario Kart player. Go enjoy the beach.
Go find a Mario Kart tournament
yeah,
to be hot in.
Go find a resort Mario Kart.
Freaking Charles Ember over here.
But Opie said we've discussed this option as well. But since he's the best man, he would be preoccupied with wedding stuff, welcome party rehearsal, the actual wedding ceremony and reception. I would be alone most of the time. Commenter 2. This is tough. But I agree with you. Him still going would make me feel weird. I get it's not who he's showing up for, the groom, making the decision, but still. How did your boyfriend react when you said you'd be upset if he still went? Has any money already been spent on your or his end to attend? She says, my boyfriend has paid for both of our flights and hotel bookings already. The groom has said that he would pay him back for my portion as he feels bad about the whole thing. And he felt that it was unfair for me to put him in an impossible position to pick between me or his best friend. From my perspective, though, I'm not asking him to not be friends with his best friend. I just don't want him going to the wedding if I'm not invited.
That's no one. Okay, lady. No one was saying that you were doing that.
Yeah.
They were saying that, you were still putting him in an impossible position of picking
Yeah.
between attending his best friend's wedding or not.
As much as I get why the groom has to take his fiance's side, I think the groom should understand why my boyfriend would decide not to go if I'm not invited. If OP and her BF were already married, would he still go to the wedding? And then OP says he said if we were married, he would back out. Commenter 3 says people don't usually invite guests and give them a +1 only then to basically interview, evaluate, and judge whether the +1 is worthy of attending, pass judgment, and rescind the +1, but allow the original guest to attend. That's terrible wedding etiquette. True. And if they plan on continuing the friendship with your boyfriend, the best man, how do they think that's gonna go? No double dates, trips, or events with all four of you together? You will not be deemed worthy to attend anything in the presence of Her Majesty? And what if you and your boyfriend eventually marry? Your boyfriend may want the current groom to be his best man. Will she expect to be invited? These people are shallow and don't realize that there's life after the wedding. It's literally the smallest of events in a marriage. They're not seeing the big picture. It's extraordinarily rude to rescind an invite in this way, and I would assume you and your boyfriend will have to deal with the emotional fallout if he chooses to attend. Maybe your relationship won't last much longer afterward, but maybe that's what the bride wants. She's playing anti-Cupid. OP says, we all agree that she's being really immature about this whole thing and has not taken into consideration all of the consequences that will come from this. I would have at least appreciated if she spoke to me about her feelings before coming to such an explosive decision. How old is the bride? OP's like, she's a bit younger than the rest of us. I think she's 26 or 27. Boyfriend said she's always been the baby of the group. OP's boyfriend, the one who paid for the entire trip when they have only been together for 8 months. When he was a +1 at my best friend's wedding, I paid for our accommodations as he was my guest. This time I'm his guest, so it made sense for him to pay. There's an update. A few amendments to my previous post/comments. Turns out, I actually paid for the flights. It's been so long since we booked, I forgot. The resort is technically refundable since you don't pay until you get there. The groom has said he would pair up my boyfriend with another guest that's coming alone, as the rooms are priced for 2 occupants. I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I kind of love the sitcom
Now it's like
happening
camp.
at the resort. I told my boyfriend that while it's valid for me to be upset about the situation, it's not valid for me to dictate whether you should go to this wedding or not. I understand the tough spot you're in, and I don't want to make it more difficult than it already is for you. Whatever the final decision bride and groom come to is, you should go to support the groom. If the decision stays that they don't want me at the wedding, maybe we can still just go to the resort together, and I'll just enjoy some solo spa time while you're doing wedding stuff. That way we can still have some time together, and you can fulfill your best man duties. He was very against this idea, saying this would most definitely cause a lot of drama and alienate me further from the group. I said that he knows his friend group better than me, and if he feels like this would cause more stress for him, I'll bow out. I mentioned that if he doesn't want me staying at the same resort, I could go to a different resort in that area, so at least the flights aren't wasted.
Just stop.
This is so much. He was against this idea as well and said I should just stay home or go to a different destination completely.
You're a couple of weirdos.
You know what's not weird? The fact that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this.
That's right.
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app, and search Hey Story Time. I have no reason to think that my boyfriend is being unfaithful, as some of the comments in my previous post have mentioned.
Yeah.
This just seems to be a point that we don't align on. He wants to make it as drama-free for the bride and groom on their wedding weekend by prioritizing their comfort and needs over mine. I want to be the understanding girlfriend so badly, but man, am I torn between feeling neglected as the girlfriend versus trying to just let it go and not pass away on this hill. Am I overreacting? Thank you. I saw AIO and I was like,
Am I orangutan?
Yeah, I
Oh.
think he's wrong for not just letting you go and be at the resort. I don't think he's cheating, but I think maybe he's been primed to be like, well, this is going to be so much because you were like, the amount of drama that's already been attached to it is making him paranoid that there will be so much more drama if you actually show up.
yeah.
So I think you may have played yourself a little bit here.
I feel like I feel like from the beginning, everything has been framed to be like, because again, this all started with the bride overreacting too.
Yeah.
Just everybody's freaking out.
And it's like, you
okay.
can just go there and not go
I once
to
again
the wedding. And
don't
that would,
want to be
who would be upset about that?
too nihilistic, but one day the lights shut for everybody and we close our eyes and take our last breath and it won't matter.
My mother won't let me alter my engagement ring. Keyword, your engagement ring. This ring isn't technically mine.
Oh, shoot.
Dang it. I'm 24 female. My cousin, 25 female at the time, passed away 5 years ago, and we were incredibly close. She left me her engagement ring in her will, and as I was moving so often, I didn't want to risk losing it, so I entrusted it with my father, who put it in a bank safe. By the way, this comes from Pirate Name 223, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, I always thought I would use this engagement ring as my own, which my parents were very happy with, but the thought made me uneasy. It wasn't my ring. My partner and I have been talking marriage law recently, and he admitted that despite my mother's 50 female persistence, he wanted to pick out his own ring. Knowing this, I didn't want the ring sat in a bank safe for years, so I decided that with my cousin's fiance's blessing, I would have it made into an eternity ring. I thought it would be a nice way to wear it without looking like an engagement ring. I told my mother, and she lost her mind, saying that she often goes to the bank to see it and that she's in pieces afterwards.
To which I replied that it was probably better I took it back and that I would lose it. But she never had any problem with me having it as an engagement ring, which it would have to be amended for me anyway because she had tiny fingers. After a lot of arguing back and forth, she said that she wanted to do something together as a family with it when I was 30. I said, why not this year for my 25th? And she said no. She put her foot down and said if I take the ring back and alter it now, she wants nothing to do with me. I'm so torn. If my mom liked jewelry at all, I'd get one of the stones made into a pendant or something because she is clearly attached to this ring, but she won't even wear her own wedding ring. She hates the feel of it on her skin. But I don't want to wait another 5 years of it just sitting in the bank, costing money for it to be there, when I could be wearing it as a reminder of her. This is in no way an I want a new ring, la la la. I've wanted to do something with it for a long time, and I would have hung it on a necklace, but I'm very rough and I couldn't risk it snapping. Now, the engagement idea is definitely off the table. I would like to do something with it. Any suggestions on how to calm this situation down? There are some comments, but what are your comments,
I
Sophia?
feel like you should just not take the ring. There was a sentence there that confused me because it sounded like she would be upset if you either didn't take the ring or altered it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's the case, then I guess it's like kind of lose-lose. But
Right.
I do think in the long run, it'll be better for your mom if you just don't take it. Because she's
Yeah.
clearly emotionally attached to it. So if anything happens to
Right.
that ring, she's going to be like, ah.
Right, because it really does suck because, yeah, she's clearly emotionally attached and way more than OP is.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard that the mom wants the ring to be like, I don't know, remembered or like used for, I can't
Like
think of the word.
day-to-day purposes.
Like, yeah, used for like a purpose like to honor the cousin, but she wants it to be honored from another person honoring it. And
yeah,
it's
which
like, well,
it's like, you can have it.
it's like,
probably.
well, yeah, you can't really make someone do that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, honestly, I don't think this is about the ring at all. Based on what you've said, it sounds like the real issue here is your mother and the way she's still dealing with your cousin passing. It's easy to say that that ring could be your engagement ring until it came right down to it. I suspect she'd balk then, but even if not, seeing that ring on your finger would represent your cousin to her. Someone, it seems, she misses very much. Comment number 2 says, that ring is your property, and at no time did you give up possession of it. Your cousin left it to you, not your mother or father.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. While it is nice that you want to respect your mother's feelings on the matter, you have no obligation to. Personally, I would call her bluff. Remember, she is the one ending the relationship, not you. If you still try and have a loving relationship and she says no, that is on her. Also, if your mother is still reacting that strongly after 5 years, I think she needs some therapy. That is not healthy for her. Opie says, thank you for this. I sometimes still struggle with the idea that it is mine. That's definitely the reason I didn't want it as my engagement ring. I did say to her that I offered her a compromise and that I was grateful she and my father kept it safe, but I suppose I'll just have to call her bluff, as you said. And there is an update.
Yeah. It's literally her ring. And the fiance
I
did
forgot that
say,
too. Yeah.
you know, you got the go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's just like, it would probably be easier if you didn't take the ring in
Yeah.
terms of like mom getting upset and everything, but it
Yeah.
is yours.
Yeah. And
So you have a right to it.
right. And that is a good point that the commenter made, that like this is just her not really letting go. And it's
Yeah.
like, that makes a lot of sense. If someone passes and then you just have this one physical object, like non-animate object that is like representing that person and you're holding on to that, it's like you're not really letting go at
Yeah.
all. You know, you're still, it's like denial a bit. So,
Absolutely.
we do have an update. So I have a massive positive update.
Yay.
I won't bother going back and editing the original post because it seems unnecessary now. One thing that became very apparent to me as I was replying to people was that I had missed out a very important part of the story that I hadn't realized, and I immediately understood why my mother was so upset.
Oh, okay.
When our family fell out after the funeral, my cousin was cremated and her ashes were scattered without us there. We didn't know where it is that she has been scattered, and I think my mother has always felt like she had no place to go when she wanted to grieve. She is very much the kind of person who, if my cousin had a grave, would go and see her regularly.
I mean, clearly she goes into the ring
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
She told us that.
I think eventually going to visit the ring in the bank became like her going to visit the grave, which is why she was so upset at the idea of it being taken away from her. Totally understandable now. After our argument, I decided to let the dust settle for the day, and the next morning she sent me a long message explaining that it was entirely my decision and she thinks it would be about time something positive came from the ring instead of it being hidden away. I realized her saying this was a huge deal.
Great.
That
That's
is
so
really great.
lovely.
Oh, the ring is basically, it looks like an eternity ring away with stones all around the band, but with one big stone in the center as you would expect on an engagement ring. I proposed the idea that seeing as I would be taking the middle stone out anyway, I have the middle stone made into a ring for her, so we both have a part of her. Oh, that's really sweet. And she was so happy she cried. Oh, I don't think this was ever about me amending the ring or wanting to do something special with it when I was 30. She just didn't want to lose her graveside, so to speak. My mother and I are very different. I will avoid anything that will intentionally upset me, and my grief comes out as and when it hits me. My mother kind of sets time aside to grieve, so she'll go through my cousin's photos or see the ring and let it out then. Both perfectly normal ways of grieving. I need to make it abundantly clear that my cousin was like a daughter to my mother. Her own mother wasn't very hands-on, and my parents loved her and took her on holidays with us. She spent every summer with us. I often say to people, I lost my cousin, and they look at me like, so?
What? Sorry, who's saying so? I'm sorry, if I said that I lost my cousin and people went, I'd be like, excuse me?
Yeah, what?
I'm very close to my cousins.
That's crazy.
That's insane. Wow.
I'm not even like that close, but I would still, what? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
They say that because they rarely see their aunts or cousins. But we were a very close-knit family. I don't think it's strange that my mother still grieves after 5 years, even if she's the aunt. However, I do believe that she would benefit from counseling, if not to deal with my cousin's passing, but the probability of my own.
Ugh.
I went to an excellent women's center when I lived in my mother's hometown that is a weekly session. You can do one-on-one or group sessions, and I've suggested to my mother that we both go to a one-on-one together. I think the idea of her going alone is too much for her. And by the way, you can go alone or with people over to Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime, because you're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one. Do it. Go over there. Do it. Get over there. Do it. There's a little bit more to this story, but this sounds like a lovely.
It's lovely.
way.
I was totally wrong. The answer was to do what you wanted, and your mom came around.
Right.
My bad.
Compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good idea to have a ring of her too, because she
Yeah.
clearly wants.
Clearly wants,
Clearly
like
wants
a,
it.
you know, she has an attachment to this ring, wants a connection to her niece,
Exactly.
and she gets that, and that's lovely. And Surly Sunshine says, very sweet, but mom still needs therapy to deal with her grief, which it does seem like she's going to,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is good.
That's
Or
great.
like some counseling in general.
Yeah.
So that's good.
There's a little bit more to the story. Also, I know there were a few people who implied that I didn't even want the ring if it had been in a safe for 5 years, or don't care that much if I want to take it apart. And it basically comes down to, I thought I would be using it as an engagement ring, so I left it in my parents' care while I moved houses and I traveled for fear of losing it. I love everything the ring symbolizes and the fact that it was given to me, but seeing the ring as it is on my own finger would just remind me of the fact that it's not on her finger. And as I said earlier, I'm not one to intentionally make myself upset. This way, my mother has a part of her which she can go to when she feels she needs to grieve, and I can carry around a part of her with me, which is what I feel I'd been missing. I did previously wear a necklace that she used to own, which said her name on it, but a lot of people thought that she was my sapphic partner, and explaining it every time made me cry. Haha. So that didn't last long. I'm also going to talk to my mom about perhaps planting a rose bush in our local park that would be
Aw.
dedicated to my cousin. You can do that in the UK if you pay a fee, so that she has somewhere better to go, a bank vault. That's so lovely.
It's
So
great.
lovely. And that makes sense. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's nice to have like a piece of jewelry or something like that that like reminds you of loved one that you lost, but having an engagement ring that you like have to wear all the time would probably be hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Being like, this is like a physical representation of the loss of my cousin.
Yeah.
But also, it's supposed to represent, you know, this new marriage and stuff. And so it's that kind of
like
dual
ooh.
meaning that's tough.
Yeah.
My friend ruined my proposal, then she deleted the pictures.
They're out there still.
I, 26 female, and my partner, now fiance, 29 male, have been together for 6 years and have 2 awesome kids together, 4 male and 1 male. Can you really know if they're that awesome?
If
they're
your kids,
1 and 4.
I don't know. My future kids are gonna be awesome. I already know that.
I already know my kids are gonna be.
I already know my kids
Me-
are awesome.
And my childhood friend, 26 female, we'll call her Allison, had always spoken about how she would be involved in my engagement somehow. For example, we'd joke about her being hidden in a bush somewhere taking photos while he proposed. By the way, this comes from It's All Good, you know. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, my partner, we'll call him Jay, had been looking for a ring for around 5 months and planning the actual engagement for around 1 month. Allison lives a 7-hour drive from us, and we had organized to go to hers for the weekend. Jay and Allison had been planning the proposal, which I was mostly oblivious to, though I had my suspicions. I was told on the night to be ready for 5:30, as the table was booked for 6. So I was ready for 5:40, and we set off, getting there on time. Allison had set off about 10 to 15 minutes before me, Jay and the kids. We got to the restaurant, and after a while, I went outside with our 4-year-old to play hide and seek. I was followed out shortly by Jay and Allison while my back was turned. Jay got on one knee and asked me to marry him while Allison was videoing.
Oh.
Oh, man. Oh,
Oh.
man. Wow. I said yes, but I was extremely distracted by our 4-year-old who was running around. We had the meal, which cost £320. Allison then told me when we sat back down that
I was
the
gonna say,
video
that's not bad.
didn't
When you're
record.
celebrating, that's not bad.
Yeah. £320? Pricey. It's pricey. But also, I'm sorry, the video didn't record. The whole ordeal was extremely disappointing and anticlimactic. Jay knew what I wanted for a proposal, photos, a nice area, something small and cute. I didn't want much. It just wasn't anything like that. And to add insult, the video didn't record. The food was really poor in the restaurant, especially for £320. I'm sorry, it was bad? And £320? Dang.
Yeah, that sucks.
And they made mistakes on the orders too. The restaurant itself was a bit drab. We were crammed in a corner, the high chair had no straps, so the 1-year-old kept escaping, and the gardens that had been described to Jay as lovely were small and honestly less than average. Anyhow, I spoke to Jay when we got home. We discussed how disappointed we both were. He then explained that he had asked Allison where the nicest restaurant in the area was, and she recommended the place. I'm sorry. She recommended this place and forgot to record. She sabotaged you.
She ruined your day.
She literally ruined your day. Jay then asked Allison if she could have the table dressed with flowers and made to look really nice, which Allison agreed to do. Allison has a really nice property, and Jay had said what he wanted to do was propose to me in a beautiful part of the property. Allison was supposed to tell me we were going to get some family photos. Then he would propose while we had the kids, getting the reaction on camera and some really nice pictures of me and then the boys. Then we go to the restaurant, celebrate, and have some nice food. The only part of this she did was book a table.
Ooh, not even like pretty much the barest of
hates
minimum.
you.
The
She
barest
hates
of minimum.
you.
Yeah.
My mom had offered money to Allison for decorations and the whole thing too, so money wasn't a problem. She didn't ask me to go outside and take photos to give Jay the opportunity to propose before we went out. The area on Allison's property where he originally wanted to propose wasn't available, and Jay only found that out an hour before. I'm sorry, the area on her property wasn't available? She's a freaking liar. She's a liar. But there were plenty of other places. I think this just highlights the disorganization again. She didn't dress the table, and she took no photos or videos. She did try to video the proposal, but it didn't record. A genuine mistake. But I would have hoped at a time like this, she'd have been more careful. She didn't take any photos after the proposal either while we were at the restaurant. So I have no photos of me and my boys, and one of the main reasons Allison was involved was to take pictures. To add, Jay was completely capable of organizing the proposal, and he could have contacted the restaurant to arrange flowers on the table and explain it was a proposal. But he wanted to involve Allison as per previous conversations we all had, and she said she was happy to sort it. She's a literal liar. I just don't understand why nothing went to plan and why she didn't keep up her end of the deal. Am I the a-hole? And there are some comments that I think are going to read through Allison's lies and deceit. Comment 1, not the a-hole. Allison clearly had some resentment towards you and Jay. She sabotaged the engagement deliberately. If she's not prepared to offer an apology or explanation, I'd consider distancing yourself until she gets her act together. Don't let her be maid of honor, bridesmaid, or be involved in any part of the planning of the wedding. Yeah, absolutely don't let her plan anything in this wedding. OP says, I'm honestly surprised this is the first comment with this insight, as the people IRL I've told have said this. It's not something I ever would have thought of myself either. I just don't see how she could ever have any resentment towards me. She's gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. Kind, sweet, just such a loving person. We've spoken briefly today. She asked how I was, had a bit of a small talk, but no mention of the engagement or anything. You need to talk about it. Now. My plan was for her to be maid of honor and, of course, have a big part in my wedding. But this has definitely made me consider this not being an option. I really hope there's a good explanation. Mental health or something? I don't know. And there is another comment. But, yeah, like, I think OP is being very forgiving and very wanting to be very understanding, which I think is good.
Genuinely, mistakes do happen,
Yeah.
but if it's such an important, like, birthday, like, it was a birthday, okay, it's a
Yeah.
mistake. But this is literally a proposal,
Yeah,
and
come
it's
on.
a huge event.
And it wasn't just the recording. It was like 6 different things.
And, yeah, like, come on.
Yeah.
You failed not just one thing, you failed pretty much every single
Everything.
task other than getting a table.
Yeah,
and
you
that's bare
Called
minimum.
and got a table?
Yeah.
I guess that's fine. Comment 2. So your friend didn't record your fiance proposing and your engagement is ruined. How does that track? You're the a-hole. What?
What?
Weird comment. OP says it's more the fact she didn't go with his plan at all. Didn't trust the table. Didn't set the opportunity up at her property like had been organized. Didn't take any photos after. The mistake of the recording not happening seemed genuine, which was fine. Comment 3 says, I'm confounded by how much importance you put on having your engagement event being just so. What is this? Engagements are important. Your fiance sounds great, kind, flexible, accommodating, and understanding. Your fixation on how everything needs to be is your choice, but it also sets you up for disappointment. I'm not saying you are doing anything wrong, it's your choice. But from my view, you are distracting yourself from what you have, a wonderful relationship with an incredible sounding partner, with emphasis on appearance and ceremony. You do you, but from the perspective of someone who has lived twice as long as you, okay, well, you haven't learned anything. The created pomp and circumstance may not matter as much as the substance of your partnership and the memories you make together along the way. Peace.
They
What
literally
are
pieced
these
out.
comments? Opie says, my fiance is great. He is everything you have described him as more and more. My frustration is with my friend not showing up how she said she would and not doing the things she said she would. That's where my frustration is. You are right, though. In the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter. And in my relationship, it certainly doesn't. But maybe it does matter for my friendship and how much effort she's willing to put into other things. If she didn't put the effort in here that she said she had. Reply, I would take this as a lesson to have realistic expectations for your friend. If you want or need something done professionally, hire a professional. If you're okay with whatever comes out, including nothing, let your friend do it. And there is an update. That's the only reasonable comment.
I mean, yeah, I guess that's
But, like,
very
also,
true, but like still.
Friends do that like all the time. Friends and family help plan engagement parties all the time. It's like, I feel like usually
That's what I don't know.
engagements aren't the ones being planned by professionals.
That's what friends are for.
That's literally what friends are for.
And I get it. I've seen proposals where there are professional photographers there to film
Yeah.
it, and that's okay. But it's also like
But usually,
it's sweet when you have your friends around you and you
Yeah.
go, ah, yeah, sweet. I don't know. That's
and also usually you have like, if you do have a professional photographer, you also have like someone record, like a friend recording too. And
Yeah.
you have like a bunch of other stuff.
sorry, guys. Again, this is not a birthday that we do every single year.
Yeah.
This is a proposal that should be a
proposal.
special moment,
Come on.
and we don't get to practice for this.
There is an update though. I asked Allison for the photos from the day. She sent them over. There were a few photos of the kids and one of me smiling with my ring, which is a nice photo. No photos of me and Jay or me and Jay and the boys. Jay had taken some photos of me and Allison on Allison's phone, which we looked at after, and they looked cute. I asked her for those photos, and she said she deleted them because she was blurry.
She was. First of all, why are there photos of you? Like, yeah, there should be a couple, but like, it's not about you. What?
She wasn't. I'd seen the photos. She said she'd check her recently deleted, but they weren't in there. It was obvious she deleted the photos because she didn't like how she looked, but I can't help but feel they weren't her memories to delete. I don't care if she looked like a swamp monster in the photos. She didn't. It wasn't about her. By the way, you know what this is about? Listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story.
All I'm saying to her is like, you know what? You do look a little blurry. I guess you won't be appearing in any of our wedding photos.
Yeah. You're not going to be in the wedding at all. Bye.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ay. What a nightmare this girl is. Me and Allison haven't really spoken since we got home. We left a day earlier than we were supposed to. Me and Jay have spoken about it and are both equally gutted because he thought him and Allison had sorted things to be special, but they weren't. So am I the a-hole? How do I even move on from this? And edit to add, Jay actually took the ring back, booked a whole new venue, a spa, for the day after, and proposed again with pictures.
Nice.
Videos, swans, and a willow tree, my favorite. He was capable of planning a nice engagement, but Allison had wanted to be involved. I adore Allison. We've been friends for 20 years. I'm just really disappointed she didn't put the effort into this that I would have expected her to. If it was too much, I'd have hoped she'd have said it was too much rather than just not doing anything that had been discussed. Exactly.
Yeah. The fact that you're like, oh, put me up to the task, coach. Literally negative effort was given.
You suck, girl. You suck.
Yeah. I would have a discussion. She's not even owed that.
Yeah.
She
I'd be
knows
like,
she messed
hey,
up.
you really dropped the ball. And you're not going to be
But,
maid of honor. You're not going to be in the bridal party.
You're like, I can't depend on you for any of that.
Anything.
So, sorry.
If I can't rely on you, then why are we friends?
Yeah.
My fiance wants to name our daughter after his deceased ex. Should I let him?
Oh boy, what a question.
I, 23 female, met my fiance, 27 male, when I was 19 in college 4 years ago. I'm currently 7 months pregnant. We're having a planned pregnancy, and our daughter is due in October. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Marley Raw. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Angie.
I'm Riley.
We were here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. So we only know what we'd do. If you would do something else, let us know in the comments. OP says, my fiance had a high school sweetheart who he dated from freshman year until his sophomore year in college. She passed away due to breast. I never knew her, but in the beginning of our relationship, he never failed to mention how she was a beautiful person. He admitted to me that he had always wanted to marry her and imagined them having kids. He loves me very much and has always been a great partner. Recently, we were on the topic of baby names. I am mixed, Ivorian and Brazilian, and my fiance is from Costa Rica. I was thinking of the name Antonia, but I was definitely open to other options. He suggested we name our daughter after her. Not as a middle name, not a Gracie Ann kind of thing where you have two names, but as her first name. His ex's name is very unique and not something common where it could be nicknamed differently or not be a direct tribute to her. I believe her name is a cultural name as well, and neither of us are from that culture. I told him I'd be fine with it being her middle name or even a nickname, but he told me he really wanted to make her name his ex's. I want to make it clear that I have nothing against the idea of naming kids after lost loved ones, but just not my first baby. I have a strong feeling that our daughter is going to look just like me, which will make it more awkward. He just came home from work and is in a really good mood. I feel tense writing this next to him. Any advice, please?
Conversation is always good. I feel like it'd be good to find out like why exactly we would want that. I can assume why, but it would be good to hear him put it in words, to hear like specifically why. Like, would he see it as her reborn in a way? Or
God, I
would
hope
he
not.
see it, yeah, right? Or would he see it, I don't know, as like just some sort of tribute? Would this change his mind of how he would view the kid or view OP? What other ways does his grieving still like linger and affect his everyday life? I have a lot of questions.
I think the way that you could approach this is just being like, look, I understand
Mhm.
what happened with her. And she's gone. You want to do something special to pay tribute to her. But this is our child.
Yeah.
And given the way that you continue to express that you feel
Mhm.
about your, ex who passed away, I feel like that's not the way to pay tribute to her in a way that's respectful to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what the internet has to say. Commenter 1, yeah, I wouldn't want my partner doing that, to be honest. Nothing personal, just like you said. Not the first baby, and definitely not the first name, especially if it isn't common or doesn't fit your cultural background. I thought the same thing, says OP. His ex was Middle Eastern, and I'm half Latina, and he is Latino. The questions regarding her name would be endless. Commenter 2 says, I think it's perfectly fine for him to ask, and it's perfectly fine for you to not want it. Names for a baby of a couple are a 2-yes situation. However, I do find it a bit odd that you feel a specific type of way since this is your first baby, rather than any baby, but I guess that's not the topic here. OP says, I am conflicted about naming my firstborn after her because what if this is the only girl I have? Or if I can't conceive after this, I've always wanted a daughter, and I really wanted her to have a meaningful name. Not that naming her after his ex isn't meaningful. Commenter 3, did he grieve her properly? It's okay to talk about her, but still talking a lot about how beautiful she is and how he wanted to marry her and have kids with her feels like it's too much. You are 7 years or so past when she passed on, but you should dig into what he did regarding grieving and how he got back into the dating scene. You being so young when you got together after a major traumatic loss for him is concerning as well. Is the age gap horrible? It's kind of borderline at that age, but add in the trauma he went through and I wonder. It's tough to navigate loss of a serious significant other, so just make sure you both are going in with your eyes wide open to how he's truly managed his grief. How adamant is he about this? If he's really pushing for it, you two need to get to counseling as soon as possible. You're being very kind, suggesting her name or a variant be linked to a middle name, but I'd be wary he'd call your kid by their middle name. OP replies, he is still open to names, but he's brought up naming her after his ex maybe twice. He used to visit her grave in the beginning of our relationship years ago, but doesn't anymore. He doesn't bring her up often. Honestly, calling my shot, he's still visiting that grave. He's just not telling you about it. Why would he? Well, I mean, yeah, imagine that. It's like you visit your ex's grave and it's like, you're not going to go home and be like, hey, honey, I was at her grave again today. It's like he probably picked up that you were uncomfortable by it and we're like, all right, well, I just won't tell her about it.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
True. It's possible.
I don't know. Grief can last for a long time.
For sure.
Grief is complex.
Mhm.
I've talked to him before about his feelings towards her, and I think it's clear that he is very into me and doesn't still love her, but I'm so confused as to why he would suggest it. On the idea that OP's boyfriend is probably not done with grieving the passing of his late girlfriend, OP replies, you think? I really hope he is ready for the responsibility of being a dad, more importantly a husband, but I really hope he isn't still stuck on her. And there's an update. Update starts with bad news, good news. What do you think the bad news is?
I'm so nervous. What do I think it is? I think he's still hung up on her. I don't actually know. I have no idea, I think.
Bad news, he's been lying and he's still going to the grave. Good news, he's open to not making your child named after her.
Hopefully.
That's my guess.
There's a lot of ways that this could go, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it is interesting that like if he is supposedly over it, I'm sure there's still love for her. I wouldn't guess that he doesn't love her anymore. I don't think it's that. Maybe that's just kind of a way to communicate that, like, you know, maybe he's still like attached to her or something like that. Maybe that's what she was trying to say.
It was recommended to my fiance, and he read it and connected the dots.
Uh-oh.
He knew it was him. He saw my username, and he knows I love Mally Raw, the producer, and it was quite obviously me. Awkward. He wasn't upset.
Okay.
That's the good news. And I insisted that he only asked because he thought it would be a good gesture. He's completely open to therapy and marriage counseling. I still feel very iffy about this whole situation, and if things don't go well in marriage counseling and I don't get the honesty I need, it's wraps. Good news, my daughter will be named Antonia, not Isra-sama, which is his ex's name. Ooh. I won't lie, being pregnant and reading through some of these comments hurt, but perhaps you lot were right. Maybe I need to realize the truth. Hopefully positive updates coming soon. Comment number 1. Oh, good, because it's honestly a huge red flag he wanted to name your child after an ex. And definitely need to do therapy before getting married. Are you sure he has grieved his ex properly? I'd hold off getting married anytime soon. A downvoted comment says, there are so many beautiful ways to honor someone you've lost without intertwining their memory with your child's identity. Perhaps creating a foundation in her name, supporting a cause she cared about, or writing a tribute could be more meaningful ways to keep her memory alive. Your daughter deserves to be celebrated purely for who she is, carrying forward your shared future, not someone else's past. Sending you strength as you navigate this conversation. That was downvoted? I went in with a funny voice because I thought it was going to be a bad comment. That wasn't really that bad at all.
That's a great comment. It's very true.
Who downvoted that?
Riley.
Okay, some more comments from the Best of Redditors update. Comment 1. I've heard multiple stories of men naming their daughters after their exes and affair partners. I wonder why they do it. Can we just acknowledge Isra Sama is a dope name?
It is a pretty cool name.
Isra Sama.
Can you imagine? He's like, well, I mean, I really had that name picked out before I dated her, and then now it has this meaning,
Yeah.
but like, I still really like that name.
But honestly, Antonia is also a
I know, I really like that name,
cool
too.
name.
I like it.
Whoa,
too.
I hit the Mongolian throat singing note there for like
You did.
a quarter second.
You did.
Dang.
Someone clip
Isra
that.
Sama brought it out of me.
Yep.
Reply. I think it's a bit weird because assuming they thought the deceased were attractive and dated them and likely had the spicy relations with them, like why would you remind yourself of that with a child? I don't really like naming after people anyway. Middle names are fine, but it always ends up being a fuss with families dictating that multiple babies should have which name, getting salty about not having passed on the legacy, blah, blah, blah. I'm biased though. My family has a weird competition thing with naming their kids after my great-granddad. I never met him, but he was apparently a very decent and kind man. But that's not the issue. The problem is people expect a massive amount of praise and adoration for doing it. They do it for that reason. It's bizarre. My uncle had 3 more kids in his late 50s, and I know he named the son after his grandfather to get back in his mother's good graces. Didn't work, though. She's hateful. Doesn't really care for him or his younger children. She only likes his firstborn son, so go figure. Comment 2 says, nothing says you love your wife like naming your child after someone you'd rather have had kids with. To be clear, I don't think that you should name your daughter with OP after your ex.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think it's necessarily like it's just like I want to constantly be reminded that I liked this person better than you. I don't know. It's complicated. I think grief and that kind of stuff is complicated. I think he can be moved on and still want to do that. But at the same time, it can be, you know, as soon as your current partner goes, yo, that's weird and I don't like that, you got to go, all right, totally fair.
Yeah, and I
Totally
feel like
understandable.
it
I just
doesn't
wanted to
even-
float it because the name is also so cool.
Yeah, I feel like it also doesn't necessarily mean that he likes the ex more than his current wife. Like,
Right.
I feel like
It doesn't. I really don't think it
yeah,
does.
exactly. It just means that he's just grieving. That's all.
Yeah. Another reply says, not just that, but she is passed away. This isn't someone he broke up with or who moved away. She is gone forever, enshrined as someone flawless in his mind. Reply, honestly, I'd say it would be worse if she wasn't passed away. I agree.
Well, yeah.
Imagine naming your child after the one who got away who is still out there. At least a passed away woman isn't going to run into you one day, wondering why the heck her ex of over 7 years married and still named his baby after her. Comment 3. Children should not be used as living memorials for someone's grief, specifically in a situation like this. It's not fair to anyone involved. Reply, in Ashkenazi tradition, children are named for the deceased, but not those that passed away tragically young. That's bad luck. It would be one thing if the name was for a grandmother or aunt and counterbalanced by someone long-lived, but dad's tragically young girlfriend is no bueno. And that's the end of that story.
My ex asked me to give her away at her upcoming wedding.
It's time to fly away. Oh, glory.
Basically, me, 35 male, and my ex, 36 female, split up 3 years ago when we had been together 7 years when she came out to me as a sapphic. At first, we were very rocky when we separated, but as we shared custody of a dog together, we had to stay civil.
Had to.
Over time, we became not just friends again, but in my opinion, best friends again.
Aww.
That's lovely.
Little co-parenting fur baby.
By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia,
I'm Riley.
And I'm Keon.
and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we only know what we do, so let us know what you do in the comments. And OP says, when our dog passed away in the summer, we got very close again. It's important to point out that we never married, and we had both been married before, so we said we were in no rush. She said she was adamantly opposed to remarriage, whereas I said I was not bothered by it, but would never rule it out. Well, I think she meant remarriage to a man.
Really?
Presumably,
to a man? I thought she just wouldn't get married in general because divorce is just so hard. She wouldn't want to go through that again.
Well, she's about to get married. That's the plot of the story.
I know that, but I guess my question is, how did you get that conclusion? That she would not remarry to a man? That's what I just think. Like,
Because
someone's
she's
like, I'm not
gay.
going to get married ever again. It's like they wouldn't get
She's
married either.
A
Because she's
sapphic.
getting married and she said she was.
Sapphic.
I know that, but
I
if
was kinda
someone
making
makes
a
the
joke.
statements, oh, got it. Oh, sorry. I'm like our Facebook viewers. I'm not taking your joke seriously. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna try the woman thing now.
She met a new woman, 30 female, last year after 2 years of what she called her sloot phase of newly coming out. I have met her and she seems okay. We get on, but we're not close, just civil. They moved on quickly though, moving in together after only 7 months. They are coming up to only a year together this month. I have not found anyone yet. I've had flings and a few one-night stands, but I'm quite shy and have anxiety issues despite being told I'm a good-looking guy.
Dang.
The other day, she asked me if we could have a coffee, which I agreed to. She proceeded to show me a diamond ring and said her girlfriend, now fiancé, proposed to her and she said yes.
Whoa.
This took me by surprise considering how opposed she was while we were together. Again,
She was sapphic, so I think she had other oppositions to your relationship.
Wait, is this part of joke now or not?
here, okay, I'll explain to you. She was in a relationship with a man.
Yes.
She realizes I'm not into men
Yes.
and then gets into a relationship with a woman
Yes.
and then marries that woman. And OP's like,
Yes.
why didn't she want to marry me? Because she didn't want to be in a relationship with a man at all.
Okay, but
No buts.
There's
no
no
buts.
buts.
No buts.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Question.
Answer.
She made a statement, I don't want to be married again. Does that apply to both teams?
I think that she was
just
saying.
or she just said that because she was with the man and realized,
Yes.
oh, I don't
The
like
reason I don't
dude,
wanna-
dude
yes.
man.
Yes.
I don't like
You've got there.
I don't like beards.
You
I'm
got
here.
there.
I'm here now.
He's there.
I'm
He's
here.
While I was taking it in, she said that as her dad and her are estranged, he is religious and him and her family disowned her when she came out. She thinks I am the best man she knows and asked if I would give her away when they were married.
Because she used to call you daddy.
Oh. Without thinking, I said, "You must be kidding. No way." I do not remember the exact words after that, but it was a very awkward situation. We paid up and left without hardly talking. She looked like she was crushed, though, and could not get her words out. That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like, on the one hand, I understand why OP doesn't want to do this, but, like, she clearly sees the relationship very differently than he does.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like he's still kind of seeing the relationship as, like, this very important thing to him, which
Yeah.
makes sense.
And she went on a different journey.
Yeah,
than
she's like,
you
oh, I
did,
realized
OP.
I was never really in love with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ugh.
he didn't have that. After getting home, I received a very angry phone call from her fiancé telling me what a piece of crap I am for crushing her dreams and putting a dampener on her big day. She said along the lines of, "Don't think you're coming to the wedding." And I equally responded along the lines of, "Don't worry, love. I wouldn't go anyway."
Oh.
Dang, y'all get nasty.
Get nasty.
Get nasty.
Catfight.
A few mutual friends and family of mine that she still sees have rung me or messaged me, saying they think I'm out of line and that they're going to show their support. I've been ignoring them like it is their business anyway. I personally feel crushed all over again like when she came out to me. I feel like I was not good enough for her to marry, but good enough to help make her big day special. I do not see me and her regaining our friendship like we had. I think even if we patch it up, we will always have this over us. Am I wrong for doing it? Should I have bit the bullet and given her away? I think what is annoying me a lot is that I consider what she did a big no. Inviting an ex to a wedding is something I would not do and consider it a bit insensitive on her part. Why does she, her fiancé, and others think it's okay? And why does she get a pass on the basis that she's a woman and marrying a girl? Uncles and aunts of mine who divorced, stayed cool with their exes, and later remarried, never dreamed of asking exes to be a part of and go to their future weddings. Why should my situation be any different?
Okay, I see where he's coming from.
I think he is not over her. He hasn't been in a serious relationship for 3 years. When she came to him, instead of being polite and being like, hey, I'm not super comfortable doing that, he went, no way, that's great. Like, he had this huge reaction, which was rude. And now he's going on this thing like, why is it any different? Why is it different because she's marrying a girl? It's different because you guys literally said you were best friends. Her fiance is fine with it. And also she said she wasn't attracted to men.
I think
I think he's not over her.
is hanging on that note. Yeah, exactly. He's still into her. He's still hanging on to
Yeah.
the notion like she didn't marry me. How is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why couldn't she marry me?
It's 500 Days of Summer.
I love the Smiths.
Sorry.
He's definitely not over her. And from her point of view, I'm just thinking in the movie or the TV show How I Met Your Mother,
Yeah.
how I think like Ted dated Robin, but
Mhm.
everyone was still friends. Or like
Yeah.
New Girl, you know, you can still date someone and be friends and be close, but you can definitely see he's not over by the way he's like. You would never invite an ex to a wedding.
Yeah. He
You're not
still sees,
Yeah, you're not an ex to OP anymore. You're a best male friend.
Yes.
She doesn't have a lot of those in her life.
She even said she's like, I don't have a lot of, good male figures.
Which confuses me on why he continued the relationship of friendship with her.
Exactly. If he saw this as so like taboo.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that you are absolutely justified in being like, I'm not comfortable doing that. But you could have done it more respectfully. And even if your first thing was like,
No way.
then you take a minute and you go, I'm so sorry I reacted that way. You
Yeah.
asked me this really special thing and I am not comfortable, but I shouldn't have reacted like that. Comment 1, strip away all the other stuff and it comes down to this. The woman who didn't want to marry you and who broke your heart wants you to come to her wedding and literally give her away to someone else. You're allowed to say no. Comment 2, I would say any chance of reconciliation flew away as soon as your ex decided to let her fiance and your family members get involved and pester you about it. I would also agree with that. I don't blame you for saying no. Definitely could have been worded better. But she should have talked to you more about it before just telling everyone you're an awful person and making them mad at you. OP says, a cousin of mine even tried to guilt me, saying by my actions, I was subconsciously showing my internalized homophobia. I mean, WTF, right? Also, that's not what internalized homophobia is. Internalized homophobia, that would be like homophobia.
Oh.
I don't know. I feel like that doesn't make sense. Reply, I hate this logic. Ask them to take their identity out of it completely. Ask them, would you be comfortable if your ex who broke your heart asked you to give them away at their wedding to someone new? No? So why should I treat her any differently because of her identity? Because they're best friends. You told us they were best friends. Comment 3, from reading the whole thread, it's obvious that she sees you, OP, as a very dear and platonic friend. In her mind, it's honoring the connection you have as friends, asking you to give her away. She does, however, obviously not get at all how much the initial rejection of the breakup and its aftermath have hurt you and still do. I don't think he realizes this either. She's caught up in her own happiness and didn't think to consider your perspective. Nobody's trying to be an a-hole, but you both hurt each other bad. Honestly, I'd say that since you have not properly healed, you should consider if it's really healthy to stay friends, to stay close friends, or if you'd heal better on your own. Obviously, you feel strung along. I honestly think it's great when people start living true to themselves, but there's often a partner left behind feeling tricked. And there is an update. I don't really agree with all those comments. I agree with some of them and parts of some of them, except for that last comment. I think they were all leaving out that he said that they were best friends.
Yeah.
And I think that he is not realizing that he is not over this relationship.
Definitely not, man. But you're going to apologize for saying the word you said and not go to the wedding and be on okay terms with OP or your ex, right?
Yeah.
Right, OP?
I also wonder, because he was saying that he would never invite an ex to a wedding. So is he not even going to go to their wedding?
He's not. No, he's like, don't
No,
worry
now
about it.
he's not. But before his friend asked him to walk her
Oh.
down the aisle, was he not even planning to go to the wedding?
I don't think he was.
Which is crazy because she was absolutely going to invite him, even if she wasn't asking him to walk her down the aisle. Like, imagine your best friend not going to your wedding.
Yeah. If you're hanging out with someone
Self-proclaimed.
one-on-one regularly, you're going to their wedding.
Yeah.
That
and
makes
it's
no sense.
crazy. I don't know.
The correlation doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. Update. I have lots of great advice, but one was to write a letter to convey my feelings. I was in the process of doing so when I got a text from her yesterday asking if she could come to my house in the evening so we could chat about what went down and clear the air. I agreed and she came over. The first thing she did was apologize for her fiance's behavior and for people pestering me. She admitted that she was so upset when she got home that afternoon that her partner freaked out and had a go at me without thinking. The others found out because she has a WhatsApp group that she set up to talk about her proposal, And she mentioned in there that she was going to ask me, so people had been messaging her on there to ask how she got on. Which, honestly, I feel like kind of takes a lot of the, blame off her, because that was the only thing that I was saying that she was the a-hole for. And she didn't even do it on purpose. She was just like, he didn't accept.
Mm-hmm.
She assured me she's going to ask people on there to leave me alone now. She let me go first, and I said basically that I was so taken aback because of her stance on marriage when we were together, and the fact I wanted to marry her so much. When she asked me, I guess all the feelings I had when she first came out and we separated came flooding back. She said she could see where I was coming from and admitted, in hindsight, she didn't really stop and consider my feelings because she's so caught up in her happy little world. She then said that the reason why she wants me to not only be there is that she loves me so much, and even though she's not into me spicily or romantically, she still considers me her soulmate in a way. She said she feels I get her more than anyone else in the world, including her fiancé. This took me by surprise to actually hear, and I broke down and started crying, and so did she. I don't know if that is the thing that OP needs to hear, but I understand what she's saying. She's like, you're my best friend.
Soulmate?
Yeah, I would consider my best friends, like, I have a best friend I would consider as my soulmate.
Soulmate.
Yeah. Soulmate doesn't have to be romantic.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Never thought about that. To be honest, kind of gave up on the concept of soulmates long ago.
I don't believe in one soulmate. I think that soulmates are just people that I think that you can
Are
have
meant to be in
multiple
your life?
soulmates and that are meant to be in your life and
Oh.
add joy and
That's family.
yeah. After we cleared our heads, she told me I can still come to the wedding if I wanted and there's no pressure to be involved as such. I said to her I do not think I can, as the love I have for her is not strictly platonic on my part. And there it is. OP's still not over.
He thought it was just a phase.
Yeah.
He thought it was just a phase.
And to give her away in the way she wants feels like a punt in the balls. I just don't think I can. She seemed to get angry at this. Thinking about it in hindsight, I think she was just being direct and told me I need to accept we are over. I think that's just direct. I think that's her being like, it's been 3 years. You need to get over me.
Yeah, but the late nights, hanging out with the fur baby.
That's why
Talking,
I
getting
don't think that
close.
helped him. She stressed to me that she is not into me in that way. I said I do not think I can, and that we may be best to properly cut ties, at least for a time, as it's eating me up. By the way, it would eat me up if you didn't listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left of the story, but I do think that is the right move for OP.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think that you can be friends with an ex who you're into.
Yeah, there was this,
Doesn't work.
There was this friend of mine that was going through a breakup, and I was like, oh, we should hang out and go on dates. And then it kind of got a little, and I was like, you need to process your breakup.
Yeah.
We can't be friends.
OP's here. He's been here for 3 months, hoping that she'll come back. And she can't. So you have to leave that. I guarantee that's why he's not had a successful relationship or like a long-term relationship in 3 years.
But soulmate? Dude, that's wild. I understand the difference between twin flame and soulmate now, but
Yeah.
if I just heard that, I'd be like screaming on the inside.
I assume that's how he feels.
Oh,
Because she's seeing us as like a platonic soulmate, and he's being like, you're my romantic soulmate. I'm in love with you.
yeah. I understand the feeling. I went on a date with one chick.
Yeah.
Now she's with another woman now. And then I went through the mindset of like,
Yeah.
what is my sexuality if I'm attracted to a lesbian? And I was like, what does this mean? I was just like,
I'm attracted to women. What does this mean?
I'm attracted to a woman that's attracted to a woman. What am I?
Straight.
Straight.
Okay.
But guess what? She's not attracted to you.
She's just not attracted to you.
What does that
Okay.
make her? Not
She
straight.
said-
No, it's straight.
Simple math.
She said if that is what I want, she understands, and she started to really cry.
Oh.
We hugged and parted there. Before she left, she told me she could tell I'm drinking again and said if all else fails and this is it, to please try and at least get sober again. To say my head is a mess is an understatement. Luckily, I've not heard from her since she left, and I have deactivated all my social media, so I cannot see what she's up to.
Smart.
Comment 1, this is literally the weirdest, most unhealthy relationship dynamic post-separation that I've ever heard of. You cannot stay in contact with her. This whole thing is super unhealthy.
Also hit the gym, my dude.
Reply, to be frank, it sounds like they both aren't over each other. She literally told him she sees him in a way she doesn't even see her fiancé. Because this is her best friend. Separation in this instance might serve them both for the better. She needs to focus on her fiancé, and he needs to find someone else. Comment 2 says, not the a-hole. Reality didn't meet her ideas, and she blames you for not being what she embodied you to be. She should have managed her expectations out of respect. She didn't even think you could say no. Worse, she thought you'd welcome it. Speaks volumes. OP says, good point. I think she thought she knew me so well that she assumed it would be an instant yes. I think because she put me on the spot, I had to make a decision there and then, where if she did it over the phone or text and email, I have thought about it differently and the outcome may have been different. Comment 3, has she been paying attention to your emotional state in the slightest? OP says, when we first split up, she was amazing. I was drinking loads and she was so helpful in trying to get me out of that and help me into therapy. She's also trying to help me with my self-esteem, even vetting some of my dating choices in the last 3 years. Since the argument, however, we haven't spoken really much at all, so not lately, I don't feel. And that's the end of that story. Again, I feel like they are letting OP way too off the hook. They're like, oh, she did this. Why is she still trying to be friends with you? It's like they both did that.
Yeah.
And she thought he was over her and now is finding out that, oh, no, he's really not over me. And I thought we had this friendship. And yeah, maybe she was being a little oblivious. But I feel like they're both, you know, to blame for how this relationship was
I think
working
they're both.
out.
Like, they should have definitely communicated
Absolutely.
where they were.
Taken some time off. Because it seems like they broke up and then she was just helping him with his, you know, drinking problem.
This separation seems best for both of them.
I agree.
Because if you're about to get married to someone and you consider your ex,
Your
even
best
though you're
friend.
not attracted to them anymore, you're closer to them than you are your fiance, that honestly would not sit right with me.
I will say she's known OP for
5 years, probably 3 years.
at least 3 years because they broke up 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But probably more because they were talking about marriage. So let's say like 5 years at the most. She considers him her best friend.
Mm-hmm.
She's known her fiance for a year. Their marriage was pretty quick, or their engagement was, just happened. Not saying that it should be, but it does make sense the timelines, why she sees this person, you know, OP as her platonic soulmate and like best friend, and she's closest to him. Especially, again, she doesn't have really great male figures in her life.
It just wouldn't sit right with me.
Yeah, Duchess Son says totally equal blame on this.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, they're both at fault. It's just one of those situations where you think you can be best friends or friends with your ex.
Yeah.
And one moves on and one is always hung up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we got another story coming up for you guys.
All right.
I dumped my fiance because he demanded we have a baby.
Give me the baby.
My fiance, 31 male, and I, 25 female, have been together for 2 years and engaged for 6 months. We've both wanted kids at some point, but never set a specific timeline. Lately, he's been making comments about how I'll give him a baby once we're married. The first time, I let it go, but when he said it another time, I joked back, so that's my job now? Making babies? That's it? And he just said, yeah, you're the one making it.
She's like, I don't remember joining no union. I don't remember joining the baby makers union.
I'm a hard-working union man. Me and Jimmy Hoffa are trucking these babies in for miles. By the way,
If the storks were unionized, this was a post made by a bird? Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, I thought Dakota would like that one. By the way, this comes from Deleted. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I told him I thought the way he was wording it was rubbing me the wrong way, and not the way that makes babies. And he rolled his eyes and said I was overthinking it. But he said it like a couple more times later, so kept saying that you're going to be giving me the baby.
Kept poking the bear. He knew what he was doing. Why would you do that?
I started to feel less excited about starting a family. I told him straight up that it was making me uncomfortable after he said it like that again later. He laughed and said, it's not that deep. That's just how it works. Just how it works, babe.
No. Stop it. Stop. Why are you doing this? Stop.
And in that moment, I was starting to feel done. So I called off the engagement.
Dang.
Not getting married no more. He said I was being ridiculous over a poor choice of words, quote unquote. His family got involved and is telling me I misunderstood him and that he just meant to say he was excited to start a family with me.
No. He had vibes. That's what they're not picking up. He had vibes.
Mm-hmm. Bad vibes.
That came with vibes, that sentence.
Yes. So I'm wondering if I overreacted and am I the a-hole? Let's discuss.
So,
I'm sorry. What was that face?
I will
You
say,
were licking your chops on that. Ew.
I will say, if you had no further discussion about this and then just called off your engagement, might have been rushing it, but like you will always know better than us. However, it's not what we're here for. We're here to give advice. I think the whole point was that it's like him being like, it's you treating you like the baby making unit.
Yes.
Baby making unit. So the baby is your thing and it'll always be your thing. And when we have one or we have two, you'll be taking care of them till they're 18.
Yeah.
And forever. And what am I going to do? That's not my job. God didn't give me the baby making parts. So it's not naturally, it's your job to take care of the kids forever.
You're preordained, and I have I can't. It's like the dishes. Like,
right, exactly.
I'm so bad at doing the dishes. Yeah, here you go.
So just briefly, he opened that window and said, hey, look at what the future's going to look like, baby making machine.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking at you as, not my wife. It's not we're making children together. It's you're making the baby. It's your responsibility to take care of it. Crazy. Get out of there, maybe.
Yeah.
But also definitely be like, hey, it feels like you're just going to completely leave our child up to me.
Yeah.
We're not doing that, right?
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe OP just picked up on such a critically acute vibe.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, I just saw the future and I'm leaving. I'm not letting that happen.
That seems like exactly what he's saying with that like one line.
Yeah.
And I will say to your earlier point too, she definitely told him multiple times like, hey, stop saying that. But
he kept doing it.
And he kept doing it. She didn't like, and just based off the context we have here, maybe she did explain it. But like if she had said, I think exactly what you said of like, hey, it sounds like I'm going to be like basically alone in raising this baby. It seems like you view me as literally just a machine to pump out fetuses.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of all I am to like, that's what it makes me feel like, especially when I tell you to like stop saying that and you continue over and over and over to keep saying it. Like then it goes from like, oh, that's kind of weird to now it actually really feels like that.
You're only doing that for one reason too. It's not like you're like, oh, I forgot. It's like you're trying to wear it down.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, she like didn't react well the first time. I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again until she gets conditioned to her new normal.
Yeah. And I think like again, could it have been helpful to explain to kind of there is maybe a world where he just didn't truly get it and it was giving dumb boy energy and it's like, okay, let me just sit down and explain it to you. But I feel like most likely was the case. He knew what he was doing. He kept pressing it. And now he actually gets to face the repercussions of looking at a woman as a fetus factory.
Right. Yeah. As a birthing unit.
A birthing unit.
Yeah.
And you get what you get. He had the opportunity. She told him multiple times.
Yeah, and look, if you really pick it up and you're like, dang, this is just not going to work anymore, and you know that, then you know that. But there's, I would think, some reason you had gotten engaged to this guy. But if this was just a moment that made you realize, oh my God, all of those reasons are meaningless, and I don't want to do this, then you know what? Good for you. Good for you, babe.
There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
I think so.
I think so.
My fiance repeatedly lied to me, and I'm having a hard time moving forward.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
My fiance, 31 male, and I, 31 female, have been best friends since middle school and have been officially together for 10 years. I love him deeply and we have a long history, but after a disappointing anniversary trip and years of carrying most of the weight in our relationship, I'm wondering if he's really capable of building a life and family with me. By the way, this comes from Significant Tip 2042, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. We've known each other since 2007. I had a crush on him in middle school, but we dated other people in high school, and he even got engaged briefly. Wow. After they broke up in college, I supported him through a really dark time. He failed out of his double major, racked up private student debt, $100K, and eventually left school. I was dating someone else back then, but there were always moments of deeper connection. We got together in 2014 after an unexpected night of closeness a couple months after I ended my high school relationship. He had plans to study in England and left a few months later. Even though we said I love you before he left, he quickly became distant abroad, stopped saying it, barely called, started partying and experimenting with devil's lettuce and psychedelics. He ended up failing out again after a year and came home suddenly. I broke off the short-term relationship I was in, and we officially became a couple. We've lived together ever since. I went back to school and eventually into a doctoral program. He slowly got his associates and then completed a BS in software engineering online. He hasn't found work in that field yet and is now getting a master's in finance while bartending. Between the failed college stints, he pays $1,000 a month in private student loans. Yikes. He has ADHD and struggles with planning, deadlines, and follow through. He gets overwhelmed easily and rarely takes initiative when it comes to responsibilities. I've applied to jobs for him before. He got 2 interviews from those, but barely applies on his own. I've tried to encourage him to build a portfolio, network, ask to job shadow, or make a job search routine like 5 applications a week. Instead, he often hyperfixates on hobbies like sailboats lately and using devil's lettuce constantly to cope with stress. I quit devil's lettuce years ago when I started my doctoral program, and I feel like it's holding him back from growing into the partner and man I need him to be. We recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary with a trip to Colorado, where he flew in to meet me after I attended a conference. Before the trip, I told him how frustrated I was that I'm always the one carrying the long-term vision and planning, that I feel his cannabis use is impairing his motivation, and I'm hurt that building a life with me isn't enough motivation for him to move forward, since he always justifies his hyperfixations as motivations for him to complete school assignments or applications. On the day he was supposed to pick me up, I expected to see him around 11:30. Instead, I checked his location at 11:45 and saw he was parked at a dispensary for over 25 minutes. It was a strip mall, and the location isn't always super accurate, so I tried to be open to the possibility that wasn't where he was. After 25 minutes, I got upset and called. He said he had to stop for gas. Made some stuff up about what the rental place was going to charge versus what he found nearby. I'm usually the one that manages all the car rental details, so I know that only applies to when you return the car with less gas than it was provided with, but I tried to ignore it and move on with the trip. I gave him multiple opportunities to come clean over the next couple of days, but he kept the lie going, continually pointing out the lower cost of gas than where we live. When we drove by a dispensary with a fun name, he made some comment like, "Oh, we could get a pre-roll just to say we went to a dispensary while in Denver." Only on the 3rd day, when I confronted him after asking how much we needed to refill the rental car's gas tank, of course it was full, so his gas lie the first day wasn't even half truth, did he finally admit he was at the dispensary, saying he'd thrown the devil's lettuce out on the way to get me. He called it addict behavior and apologized, but by then the damage was done. I felt like our entire trip had been built on a lie, since he lied to me every single day of it. I'm not even super against weed. When I talked to him before our trip, I was just trying to point out how he could use it after work to decompress. It's about like if you're doing self-medication, it's about knowing how to do it, in a way that's beneficial.
Right. You have to be sufficient in observing yourself and self-reflection.
Absolutely.
To be able to do that.
Rather than starting the day with it and continuing to hit the pen all day. On top of this lie, there was the usual inflexibility and moments that just felt crappy when it should have been a good time. At the Botanical Gardens, he offered to carry the camera, but then got upset about juggling it with his sling bag, which he doesn't even need. He has pockets and basically only uses it for cash and his phone, which doubles as a wallet. When he caught up to me after I was stressed at the ticket counter, he called himself a pack mule, which made me cry. I constantly feel like I'm the one planning, managing emotions, and thinking ahead while he reacts, complains, and zones out. Since we got back, he's been applying to a few jobs and did some cleaning without being asked. I haven't seen or heard him using his dab pen. I want to believe these are signs of real change, but I've seen these bursts of motivation before and they don't usually last. He says he wants kids and a life with me, and I do too, ideally, starting to try a year or 2 after I graduate next spring, but I'm terrified that I'll be doing it all alone. Honestly, it feels like he has a Peter Pan complex. Instead of growing into the man he says he wants to be, he retreats into devil's lettuce, distractions, and self-pity. It's like he's still living in a fantasy world while I'm trying to build a real one. He often tells this script of he's never good enough, but instead of stepping up, problem solving, or adapting, he doubles down on the behaviors that make that true. I'm exhausted from loving someone who always seems to be somewhere else, mentally or emotionally, when I need him here. I don't want to live in this cycle of hope, stress, disappointment, and loneliness. And I don't want to bring children into a life where I'm the only adult in the room. To be as transparent as possible, he bartends 4 days a week, usually 5 to 11:30 p.m., and is doing his part-time online masters. He goes to the gym 5 days a week and does most of the cooking on his days off. It's not like he's doing nothing, but he does have several hours a day. He goes on his YouTube rabbit holes or plays video games. When I'm not in class or working in the clinic, I'm working on research projects for school and other contract research work. as well as networking. I only make it to the gym 2 days a week, and my main hobby is listening to audiobooks while cleaning since I don't have time to just do one thing. I've never really had to worry about cheating or lack of attraction, despite me being overweight and symptoms that come along with PCOS. Although he has made me feel like my headaches are psychosomatic, I get maybe one per month. And like I should just push through. Well, he should stop talking to you.
Yeah, what? He's
That's
telling
crazy.
you to push through the symptoms that you could never
Yeah.
understand.
He wants to be a good guy and partner and tries to take action when I bring things up, but also doesn't directly communicate things. When I bring up things, he goes completely silent and just starts cleaning or something and tries to improve things for a little while, then it goes back to usual. At least with this, he spoke up and seems to be problem solving on his own. I've been sick and too swamped with finals to address it further than the last day before returning the rental car. I'm still really hurt by the lies. When I look at pictures of us on the trip, it just feels fake. I grew up with my dad cheating on my mom. I was the one that found out first and always knew his fishing trips were a lie. I really don't handle lies well. Even if it's not as harmful as cheating, I don't know how to move forward. I still love him, but if this is what our 10-year anniversary trip looks like, what does that mean for the rest? By the way, you can spend the rest of your life with us if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. He's been working with a therapist for a few years. However, he knows he needs to change therapists, and she also enables him. He said I'll look into options through school now or the local university's low-cost options since he doesn't have insurance. The current therapist threw professional boundaries out the window. He's gone through 2 divorces in the 5 years we have seen her and smoked cigs and devil's lettuce herself. So she isn't the most helpful in the scenario. He's also working with a nurse practitioner for med management. Great! He was initially prescribed Adderall, which helped him get his classwork done, but led to a lot of ups and downs and spiraling thoughts in the evenings. He is trying Wellbutrin now, has been on it for about a month, and he does seem more evened out aside from the anniversary trip situation. And folks, that's the end of that story. I mean, see how the medication goes?
Yeah.
See how that is? Because that could totally change things around.
That could.
Now that he's medicated.
Yeah.
That is the end of that story.
Yes, it is. I moved after winning full custody of my son. My ex crashed out.
I can see why.
My wife and I got a divorce last year. Our relationship failed after she was charged with felony credit card fraud and ended up pleading guilty to a lesser charge. She has been a stay-at-home mom to our 2 sons, 5 and 3, and had taken credit cards out in my mom's name to pay for God knows what. She shattered my trust. I work full-time and make a decent living, but nothing extravagant. I had no clue what my wife was doing until cops showed up at my door with a warrant and took my wife away in cuffs and took 2 laptops as evidence. When I got the full story, I filed for divorce immediately. By the way, this comes from took my kids, am I the a-hole? And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Aside from being a criminal, she was a good mom. She tried to justify what she did by saying she was just doing what was best for our kids, which I felt was total BS given that she never mentioned wanting for anything. And anytime she asked to spend money on something, I almost always said yes. I hired a good lawyer and asked for full custody of my kids. My ex begged me not to do that, saying that she needed her kids, but she was still looking at up to a year in jail, and nothing her lawyer said could sway the judge to grant her anything more than supervised visitation. She ended up doing 90 days in jail, paying some fines and restitution, but I've allowed her to see our sons almost every time she's asked. The last year has been total heck, but we've made it work. A few months ago, I was offered a much more lucrative position a few states away. I talked with my lawyer about what it would mean if I moved and what the process was. He said that since I have full custody, I have to file a petition with the court to move. So I told my wife what I wanted to do, and she exploded. She claimed I was stealing her kids from her, that she's made a lot of strides to get herself to a better place, and that she would fight me tooth and nail for her kids. Well, I filed the petition, got the go-ahead from the courts, and accepted the job. When the judge gave his ruling, my wife burst into tears and began sobbing. It was heartbreaking. I know in my head that I'm doing the right thing for my sons. They are young enough that a move like this won't be too traumatic, but I also feel like their lives have already been completely overturned, and I'm just adding more to that. As for my wife, she's a wreck. She's been begging me to reconsider the move, trying everything from guilt trips, manipulation, bargaining. It's like she's going through the stages of grief. But from my point of view, she did this to herself. She lied and broke the law. I have very little sympathy for her. I know at some point she will probably try to file for partial custody, and I'm prepared for that. For now, I'm just trying to do what's best for me and my sons. Does that make me the a-hole? There is an edit. Thank you to everyone who commented, even the ones who called me a heartless a-hole for taking my sons away from their mother. This post has given me a lot of perspective, and I appreciate that. A couple things things I want to clear up that I keep getting asked about that I wasn't able to include in my original post. The area my sons and I live in is a smaller community. Not everyone knows everyone, small but close. The crime my ex committed was news here. It was in the paper.
Dang.
People know about it. I get weird looks when I'm out in public. People have stopped inviting my sons to birthday parties. What?
Ouch.
I don't want my sons to be bullied and teased in school about their mother being a criminal. I'm not going to permanently alienate my sons from their mother. I will make sure they are able to talk and FaceTime with her whenever they want. I will be the one who makes the drive back in order for them to see her until she is able to make arrangements to allow her to do so. I will continue to work with my ex to make sure that she is included in things like birthdays and holidays. I know my sons and we will all need therapy from this. There is not a good mental health available where my previous job is. My new job offers on-site childcare, and I will have access to counseling and therapy for myself and my sons that we would not have access to without moving. The schools near my new job are head and shoulders above ones near my previous job. If my ex gets her life back on track and is able to move closer to us, I'm all for it. If she does the things that she needs to do in order to petition for shared custody, I don't intend on fighting her for that. But until she does that, I will not allow her anything more than the supervised visits ruled by the court. I will also not ask for any of the court-ordered child support. We won't need it. To all the people who screamed, "But she's their mother!" Yes, she always will be. And I remind my sons daily that their mom loves them very much and that she wishes she can be with them like before. I am angry and resentful of my wife, but I work very, very hard to not let any of those feelings impact my sons and their relationship with their mom. The final verdict is not the a-hole, and there is an update. I did end up taking the new job and moved with my sons.
Nice.
We have been settled into our new lives quite nicely over the last month, and things have been going really well. My sons love the new house. They have made friends with some other kids their age in the neighborhood. My job has been going really well, and I really couldn't have hoped for things to go better than they have. I got both of my sons into a great therapy program, and the three of us have also been doing counseling sessions together. My boys have been adjusting amazingly well, and I'm so happy and proud of how they've handled this. We've also made 2 trips back to see their mother since she is still in the process of figuring out what she will be allowed to do in the relation to her probation.
I don't know. I'm actually wondering, how far can you go? Like, is there a distance that you can go when you're on probation?
I think it depends.
Because it's not house arrest.
Right. We've also been doing many video calls a week with her. My sons still don't understand why their mom isn't here with us, but they do seem to grasp that this is going to be their new normal. In comparison with how well myself and my sons are adjusting, my ex is the complete opposite. She is still very angry with me and thinks I'm a complete a-hole. She's frustrated with the process of going through the courts to be allowed to move. She's frustrated that I'm not willing to drive our sons back to see her as often as she'd like. She feels like she's being marginalized in their lives and that I'm pulling them away from her. When she was complaining about all of this during our last visit, I reminded her that all of those things are consequences of her own actions, and she blew up at me by saying I'm punching her when she's already down and I didn't need to take her sons away from her. I told her how well our sons are doing and how happy they are, and she should be proud of how strong and resilient they've been. She then started begging me to please move back so that she can be closer because she's not sure the courts will allow her to move and the process is taking too long. I told her that wasn't going to happen, but if there's anything I can do with the court process, that I would be willing to help if I can. I reminded her that I haven't said anything about her not paying the court-ordered child support, but that our boys seem to be in a much better place already, and I'm not going to take that away from them. Every time we have a video call with her, as soon as she says goodbye to our sons, she starts asking me to consider moving back home. I tell her every time that it's not happening. I'm not a robot, and I do feel bad to see her so desperate and distraught, but when I look at my sons playing and laughing with their new friends, I know I've done the right thing no matter what the cost to my ex. It really
I don't want
is.
to ever take kids away from a parent.
Of course.
And I really truly in most situations, as long as the parent is a good parent, do believe that, you should have access to your kids.
So there is another update. Am I the a-hole for contacting my ex's wife's probation officer after she showed up at my house 3 months later? I have full custody of my 2 sons that I have with my ex-wife. See my past posts for some backstory on our relationship and why I have full custody. Because I now live in a few states away from where my wife lives, I always knew that this holiday season was going to be difficult. For Thanksgiving this year, I made the drive back to my wife's place so that she could spend the holiday with our sons. During this visit, I talked with her about plans for Christmas and told her that due to potential potential winter weather and the pandemic, I would prefer not to drive the kids to her again for Christmas. She did not like this and blew up on me about how I was isolating her from the kids. This was after I just drove hundreds of miles so that we could spend Thanksgiving together.
I really think that she's going to take anything that you do as the worst possible thing. Like you are spiting, being spiteful.
Yeah. I told her this was not up for debate and that we can plan for something in the spring once the weather warms up and the pandemic hopefully calms down a
Oh,
bit.
dang. And also during the vid,
Yeah.
that's even harder.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
even harder. Like he's probably making a lot more of an effort to
Yeah.
try and get them down.
Because then traveling in general is just
Yeah.
compromised a bit. Yeah.
Oh.
I did, however, make sure to do a FaceTime call with her and the kids on Christmas Eve and told her that I would do the same thing on Christmas morning so that she could see the kids open the gifts that she sent to them. But when I went to call her on Christmas morning, she didn't answer. I tried back a couple of times, but she didn't answer, and the last time it went straight to voicemail. Then around dinner time, the doorbell rang. It was my ex. The boys were excited to see her, but I had a serious what the F moment. For a second, I actually thought about not even letting her in the house, but my sons were so excited to show her all their new toys that I couldn't do it. After things calmed down a bit, I asked her what the heck she was doing. She said she couldn't handle a Christmas away from her kids, so she made the drive to see them. I told her it was messed up. She did this without telling me, but she said if she told me, then I would have told her not to come. I then asked her if she got the okay from her probation officer, and she said of course she did. She then asked if she could stay for the night since she didn't have a hotel, and I allowed her to sleep in my guest room.
My question,
Yeah.
I'm like, I think she's lying. Do you think
About
she's
the
lying?
probation
Yeah, about the
officer?
probation.
Well, because of the title, I do.
I think she's lying. Before we see what OP does, because
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
we
yeah.
already know what he does.
Sure.
What would you do? Like, would you, like, on your wife who's come to be with her kids, are
Mhm.
you calling the probation officer? Like, are you?
Yeah, we definitely want to like have a conversation with
Yeah, I'd be
my
like-
wife.
Like, he can't keep doing this. We've talked about it. You don't like, you're not on board with anything I do, but I have full custody right now.
Yeah.
And I think you should just be working on getting
and, like,
yourself in order.
Right, and like, maybe if you told me that the probation officer approved it, then I would have allowed it.
Yeah, I would have been like, hey, we can plan this.
Yeah, before I went to sleep that night, I sent an email to her probation officer asking if she had really asked for permission to travel. Since it was Christmas weekend, I didn't hear back from them right away, and my ex left the next day to head back home. That Monday, I got an email from the probation officer thanking me for reaching out to them and asking for a little more information, which I provided. A couple days later, I get a call from my ex, and she's screaming at me and calling me an a-hole for contacting her probation officer. Apparently, she hadn't told them or asked them, and now she could potentially land back in jail. She is accusing me of purposefully trying to get her sent back to jail so that I can keep our kids away from her forever. That was never my intention, but I can kind of see why it looks like that to her. Does contacting her probation officer make me an a-hole? And that's the last question of the story. Oh my goodness.
That was weird.
My fiance won't stand up for me. He says his mom will never change.
That's when you stand up.
I, 26 female, and my mother-in-law, 43 female, were friends via church before I met my now fiance, 27 male. Mother-in-law let me stay at their house when I left a toxic relationship with my 2 children. Her son helped me move my stuff out the next day. That is what initially attracted me to him, that he didn't know me, but he helped me pack and move me and my kids' things out of a bad situation. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own story, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No,
I remember that you were there.
that's so cool.
I totally remember that you were there and you had to introduce yourself.
And I'm here. You know what? I don't exist. I think
No.
this happens to me a lot.
No.
You're not the first.
No.
Not the last. I
I
think I'm Keon. I think I'm here.
Oh, put some love in the chat for the producers that get overlooked in these intros. Besides that, we're just here to tell some great stories and have some hot goss. All right, we have not experienced a lot of these situations, but if you have, let us know in the comments what you have done, what you would do in this situation. Let us know your input. But anyway, OP says, I moved back to my home state where me and my fiance kept in contact. My now fiance. I moved back to his state about 5 years ago for the kids to be closer to their dad, not my now fiance. We have been together ever since. I moved back in February 2020 and then the vid hit. We moved in together in July of 2020. I then found out that I was pregnant in November of 2020. However, since we announced to his mom that we were together, things definitely changed. She seemed supportive of the relationship, but that went out the window when she tried to punt me out of my now fiance's place in the middle of a fight me and him were having. I was pregnant with his child and had 2 kids. After I had my daughter, we didn't trust anyone with her, so we sent her to school with my mother-in-law. I ended up working at the school for 1 school year and then left due to conflict with another staff member that was favored by the owner. I tried to report her for putting her hands on a child and it got messy. Anyways, after I left, my mother-in-law had my daughter Sunday night to Wednesday night for school, and she thinks that she is her mother. She has a possessive hold on my daughter, telling everyone that she raised her and taught her all the things that she knows, that she's the reason my daughter is so smart. Me and mother-in-law's relationship has been strained. My dad passed away in 2021 from the vid, and my mother-in-law didn't reach out to check on me one time, but instead reached out to my mom. My mom had plenty of people looking after her, including me, who uprooted my entire life to take care of her during this time. But I had nobody. She even went as far as sharing my dad's GoFundMe, saying, "Please pray for my granddaughter's other grandmother during this time."
No,
Completely
what?
excluding me.
What?
Yeah, what?
She's got major beef with you.
Yeah. But
That's
like,
absurd.
like, why though?
And like, yeah, your husband has to see that and go, "Hey, why are you like actively catfighting my fiance,
Right.
my wife?
Yeah, the
Stop
mother of
it.
my child. Yeah.
Stop it."
That's something that I've held on to. About a month and a half ago, I exploded on her. I let everything out. Reason being, my daughter had a ballet recital. Mother-in-law jumped in front of me to rush her in and off the stage and took away a moment that I could have had with my child after receiving her medal. Then she posted a thank you, tagging everyone who came and how her and her husband are so happy that so many people were there for my child. During the blow up, I told her how she doesn't let me be my child's mother when she's around, how she excludes my other 2 kids because they're not biological to her, etc. We had a sit-down conversation. She said hurtful things that can't be unsaid. And I realized that my fiance gets that from his mother. Saying things when you're mad to cut deep, when you're not showing emotion about anything else. They know what to say to open those wounds. Anyways, my daughter is home now full time. We ended the talk on good terms and I explained that I wanted a better relationship and to be closer to her. So I started doing all the things that she said to make us closer. I felt good about it. Now, we had a family trip planned out of state. I even told my fiance on the way there that I think this trip will solidify our relationship. Man, was I wrong. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh. She ignored me and my fiance the entire trip. She kept saying that she wished her husband's son would have been her son. She didn't speak to either of us or take pictures with us unless it was a family picture. She didn't take any pictures with my other 2 kids because her, quote, real grandkids were there. She begged me to ask my kids' dad to take them, just for them to be ignored and left out. The only one who got attention was her husband's grandchildren and my child who's biological to her. That won't happen again. When she did interact with me, she treated me like trash and spoke to me like trash. We rented a boat tour and went snorkeling. I can't swim, which I told everyone in the group chat prior to getting to the boat. The boat took us to the middle of the ocean to snorkel. My brother-in-law's girlfriend was there and she can't swim either. So we decided we'd sit with the younger kids and when our men came back, we'd go together. I got in first with the life ring thing.
Wait, I'm sorry. Why would the 2 people who can't swim go together?
I don't know.
I think if you can't swim, don't go into the ocean and snorkel.
Yeah, right?
Probably. I guess if you have a life jacket, it'd be fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess like they're waiting it on the boat like with the younger kids. And then yeah, I guess when the men came back, they could switch off and hopefully there'd be someone in the water that could swim in this situation.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be everyone that could swim, but someone. So I got in first with the life ring thing. It clips around your waist. I wanted an actual life jacket because I've never used one of these. But I get in the water and this life ring waist thing starts turning me in the water like a rotisserie chicken. That's funny. They do tend to do that.
It's a funny example. Why? Who did this? Why? Who's getting you into the ocean with a life ring instead of just a life jacket?
Right. I tried grabbing onto my father-in-law, but he pushes me away. My mother-in-law laughs at me and says, "Look at this girl." I tried grabbing onto someone, but nobody helped me. I swallowed and inhaled so much water. I'm already petrified of water, and I didn't want to be the only one who didn't go because then I'd be the sour one. Something that my mother-in-law could use against me again. So my brother-in-law's girlfriend tried going back up the steps. She never touched a foot in the water. and the entire family swam straight over to help her get in the water and make her comfortable. I got out of the water, went to my fiance, covered my face with a towel, and bawled my eyes out. He was pissed. However, he never ever says anything to his mom unless she says something bad about him directly to him. He doesn't stand up for me ever because, quote, it won't change who she is or how she treats me. But he has no problem standing up to her if it's about him. He doesn't care about how his mom treats me and always flips it to say something about how my mom is instead of focusing on the subject at hand. He is absolutely like his mother in every way. He has no problem with her pretending to be my child's mom and the bad things that she says about me as a mother, but never blames her son. The boat situation was my last straw. I almost drowned. This isn't the only thing that happened on the trip or over the 5 years, but I'm at my wit's end over it all. I want to go completely no contact. My fiance says he doesn't want to keep the kids from her, but I don't feel comfortable sending any of my kids to her. So what do I do? And there are some comments. What do you think that OP should do, Dakota?
Honestly, I'm sorry, but if my fiance is like that mom in every way, I don't like that. I really don't like that. At first, I was like, you just got a mother-in-law problem, but it sounds like you got a husband problem.
Sounds like it. She's saying that stuff about like the husband is just like it, but then just brushing right past it and being like, okay, but how do I fix my problem of the mother-in-law? And it's like, well, I mean, sure, you can fix that or you can try to fix that, but I think a big thing here is the fact that your fiance is this way.
If he can if he can argue with his mom about himself, but he can't stick up for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it just implies that he like tacitly agrees with her.
Yeah.
So I think this is what you should do. I think you tell him, you're just like your mom, and I cannot be married to someone who is just like your mom. And if he goes, then you know, okay, it's done.
Cool.
It's a done deal. It's over. I mean, when you're saying stuff just to cut deep.
A red flag in itself. Yeah.
That is not husband material.
No. Yeah, I think if you fix your fiance problem, your mother-in-law problem will be pretty much fixed too, or at least a good chunk of it will be. But we do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, you have a fiance problem that contributes to the mother-in-law behavior. Break away from them, all of them. Comment number 2 says, oh, OP, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. Mother-in-laws can be the worst at times. Personally, I wouldn't let my child go to grandma's anymore. If she can't respect you to your face, I'd be terrified to know what is said and done when you aren't around. Try taking a weekend with just you and your kids. Turn the communicators off and let everyone think about the situation. Maybe your fiance will feel differently if he understands a woman will do everything she has to do to keep her kids safe. Oh, and that's it. What?
Whoa.
Oh my God.
And by the way, we want to keep you safe with more full episodes with stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it is. iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime and you can listen to the full archive. Stories just like that.
Do it.
My fiance is furious I refuse to hand over my son's money.
'Cause that's my son's money.
I, female 35, met my fiance 2 years ago. My son, 4, gets on well with him, and my ex-husband, my son's father, also likes him. Now to the point. 3 years ago, I won a large sum of money in the lottery. Not millions, but enough for a nice life if I worked normally, and a good start for my son later. 75% went into a savings account that my son will have access to when he's 21. By the way, this comes from Amazing Box 3511, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And OP says, my fiance always thought he had plenty of money and never let me correct him. I insisted on a prenuptial agreement, and for that the finances were disclosed. Now the amount in my son's saving account is about 5 times more than anything my fiance has. Completely enraged, he left the lawyer's office and ignored all calls for 2 days. That man is marrying you for your money.
Oh, probably. Now that makes me think, was there any news articles about you or any social media endeavors with your face and the lottery
did he
winnings?
find you? Or did you find him? Which one? For me, that was the end of the relationship. And I wrote to him saying that he could have the ring back. A week later, he was at the door. He would love me, but was in shock and now wanted details of where the money had come from. He would love me? He's like, no, babe, you don't understand. I would love you. I was just
Just give me the money first, and then I will love you.
Yeah, hand over the money and then I'll hand over the love.
What?
He also told me that he had a 5-year-old daughter from a previous relationship and that it would be only fair to split the money so that his daughter could also benefit from it. Did you know about the 5-year-old? Is this news?
You guys were playing. All right, let's play 20 questions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, dude. Break up. Just be done with this.
He was like, oh, all right, you have a bunch of money. I have a daughter now.
I've got a daughter. You have to help her.
And her name is Steve Jr.
Her name is Money.
Yeah, Shmoney.
Her name's Honey. You said a different name that time. No, I didn't. He sees it as justified as I got the money through luck and not through performance. Then you go get money through performance. I don't know. Go be a dancer. I gave him back the engagement ring and punted him out of my apartment. Since then, I've been getting messages from various social media profiles and cell phone numbers that I would be the a-hole who is ruining his daughter's future.
Oh my gosh.
I only found out about his daughter that day. He was your fiance and you didn't know about his daughter?
Okay, that is wild.
He's either lying to you or he lied to you about his daughter. He's either lying to you or he's lying to you.
All of his friends, his family, they're his daughter. They're
Yeah.
like, you have to give the money to his daughter.
Yeah, lied to you or is lying to you.
Please
It's one
remove
of
yourself
those.
from this man as far as possible. Also, I'm a little shocked because everyone seemed to like this guy.
Yeah,
What happened?
I have no clue.
He found his free meal ticket. That's what it is.
I never saw any photos or anything like that in the past years. Why did he think that revealing that he has a daughter that he never told you about would be the best play to make you stay? Because that would be like the surefire way to get me to definitely leave because you lied to me.
Yikes, dude.
Relevant comments, a sleep unit says, not the a-hole, you did the right thing, breaking things off, stay broken up. This dude will ruin your life otherwise. Hope he says, yes, for me, this relationship is over. I'm just shocked at the games he's playing now. I still haven't found out whether he really has a daughter or whether he made it up so he could disappear with half the money. Monte Carlo says, you knew this guy for 2 years, got engaged, and didn't know he had a daughter? And he's upset that you didn't mention your son's money?
Okay, well, those are two different things.
Not really.
Really?
Those are both relevant. I mean, well, honestly, OP's more in the right for absolutely. He
I don't know.
absolutely.
Well, if
you
you got,
think that he
now I'm thinking
he
about it.
needed like you don't have to disclose anything about your son's finances to him. He should absolutely have told you that he had a child.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, then yes, I agree with you.
I thought that I must have comprehended that comment wrong.
They were saying just the fact that he's upset that you like.
Oh,
it
yes.
doesn't make any
Okay.
sense when he's hid this thing.
Yeah, I thought it was you're upset that he didn't tell you about his daughter whenever you didn't tell him about the money.
No, it's saying like
Okay.
this comment was on our side.
Anyways, everyone should be on the same page, but that is a wild chapter to skip to.
Yep. OP says, well, I tried to tell him about my finances. He never wanted to know. He always was kind of like, yeah, I'm the man. You don't have to worry.
I see. So this is a pride thing. It's not kind of about the money, but it's more about the pride.
One Taylor says, so wait, did all this happen before the prenup was even finished? And did you put in your sons because you were worried about creditors coming for you and this gave you an out? I'm just trying to put the pieces together. OP says, we sat with the lawyer to draw up the prenup. We had to disclose our finances. I didn't know exactly whether my son's account was excluded or not, so I took the documents with me as a precaution. When we went through these documents, he stood up and stormed out of the office, extremely angry. In my country, it is customary to set up the bank account in the child's name. With normal saving accounts, both the person who opened the account and the parents can have access to it. So my son's dad also knows about it. My side of the family would love to have access to the money in the event of my premature passing. That's why it's blocked. OP also added, I probably have some explaining to do. In my country, lottery winners are never revealed.
Okay.
As they shouldn't be.
Nice.
Sometimes they say in which region a ticket was bought, but never more. Apart from the financial security for my son, there is no sign of the win in my family. I used my part of the win to pay off debts and bought myself a car. Neither new nor anything special. We live in the same rented apartment, and I still have my job that pays the monthly bills. I treat myself to a 2-week vacation in Australia once a year, but never in luxury. My son wears Temu clothes. He loves the designs, and I don't have any designer stuff myself, and also wear my clothes up. So there was never any sign that my fiance was a gold digger. On the contrary, I had to fight for him not to keep inviting me to dinner or paying for weekend trips. I mostly turned them down. He's buttering you up, girl. I grew up in a financially unstable family, so I was always very concerned about being frugal. My son's saving account is also closed to withdrawals before his 21st birthday. You can put money into it, but you can't take it out. And even then, only he is allowed to do so. And there is an update. I feel like your ex-fiancé is about to start pulling off some Count Olaf level hijinks. And you gotta be ready. You gotta be making sure that no one's gonna light your house on fire.
Dude.
Keep an eye out.
It's so weird how money can change people.
Yeah.
Recently, there was a passing of my family. There was a family member that got a little weird because she knew about a savings account. And it was kind of like...
She knew about a what?
A savings account from the person that passed. She was like, I need that money now. It's like, well, it's not in the ground yet.
Yeah, I think people tend to be very weird about money.
Yeah, dude. I could pull this on a friend that I know, but I'm not going to. I could.
But I won't.
Oh, yeah, it was luck that you got into that workers' comp issue. You know, maybe you should give me some of the money because I work too. I drive too.
Well, now I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't workers' comp.
I didn't want to actually say what it was.
Oh, I see. Okay, because that's what I first thought, but it's not workers' comp.
I know. Yeah, I could pull that, but dude, just life happens to people and they get blessed, and you should just
share
let them be blessed. Share the wealth.
Share the wealth.
I survived.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's not talking to you.
I'm not talking about you, Keon.
But there's an update, folks. 2 months later, after receiving many of your tips, I took my son to his grandparents, informed the police, and also my boss.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the police can't do much in my country as long as he doesn't commit a crime against me. Pestering me on the phone and begging for money doesn't count as a crime. I informed my boss, mainly because my ex-fiancé works for a company that we deal with almost daily. That's how we originally met. In recent weeks, there have been many attempts by his friends and family to contact me, all of whom wanted to convince me to give him the money. But everyone hung up when I asked about his daughter. When my ex-fiancé showed up at my work, he didn't normally have to do that after getting a promotion, my boss called my fiancé's company and explained that if he took one more step in my direction, all contracts would be canceled due to their unacceptable behavior. Good on your boss.
Holy
Your
cow.
boss is, your number one fight protector.
Because whatever company you have, they could probably find a cheaper contractor.
Yeah.
Because they're just working with you because they like you.
Yeah.
And they could take that away.
Gone. This led to a meeting with my ex-fiancé's boss, my boss, and me. I didn't tell them every detail, but when it came to the money, his boss explained to me that my fiancé actually wanted to buy a large stake in the company and was allegedly just waiting for the loan to be paid out. Yeah, you to give him money? This made it clear why he wanted my son's money so badly. My ex-fiancé is actually a highly respected employee at his company, which is why his boss was reluctant to fire him, especially since this probably wouldn't have improved my situation. And similar to the police, his boss considered it bad behavior, but it wasn't a criminal offense. At the same time, my company is a very large client for them, and sweeping the whole thing under the rug wouldn't help. After a few days, I received the news that my ex-fiancé was being transferred to another branch of the company, several thousand kilometers away from me. Yay!
Oh, wow.
Sucks for him, but, that's what he gets.
And his 5-year-old daughter in air quotes.
Yeah. Definitely a 5-year-old daughter is going to have to move somewhere.
I mean, we're not even going to hear about this kid at all.
OP's going to be like one day, I don't know. Something's going to happen. They're going to be talking and she's going to be like, oh, how's your daughter? And he's going to be like, my daughter? What are you talking about? Oh, yes. My daughter, Lenny. No, you said her name was Honey. Yes. We call her Lenny.
It's her middle name.
Yeah, Honey Lenny. The company's purchasing department also clearly rejected the purchase. Afterward, I found out via social media that my ex-fiancé actually has a daughter, which is honestly kind of worse to me because it means, again, that he lied about about his daughter for 5 years.
That's crazy. When did he even see her?
I don't know.
Is he a bad dad too?
I must be. A friend was still following him on Instagram to keep an eye on him, and when she looked at his tags from the last 6 years, she actually noticed his ex, and a look at her profile showed a girl of the specified age. I contacted her, and she willingly explained to me how much he actually wanted a child, and how, when the ultrasound showed it was a girl, he left her. Wow.
Because he wanted a son with a lot of money already in his bank account.
Yikes. He broke off contact with the mother during the pregnancy and willingly gave up all his rights and obligations as a father. You don't deserve to be a father.
Yeah.
If you are not ready to be a parent to a child of any gender, then you don't deserve to be a parent.
It's wild that you were signing the prenup contract and this all happened.
She herself is now in a happy relationship and her husband loves her daughter. She never asked my ex-fiancé for money. Following your advice regarding the savings account, I contacted our financial advisor and can now say that I must apologize to you. It is indeed a trust fund. I just hadn't referred to it as such until then, as it is mainly referred to as a savings account in my country. But yes, it is a trust fund in the American sense. I discussed with my ex-husband, the father of my son, once again, how we would make the payout, and thanks to your tips, we have now decided on a staggered payout from ages 21 to 35, so that he has a contribution for several stages of his life. The amount at age 21 has been chosen so that it can be used for college, but at the same time, it won't hurt too much if he squanders it. By the way, you shouldn't squander all the full episodes we have. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search Aboka Storytime.
Boom.
But there is a little bit left of the story. All's well that ends well. Get far away from this man.
Okay. So the thing that I really appreciate about OP is she brought paperwork she didn't think that she needed because she was making sure she had all her ducks in a row for this marriage. So if that action behind her, and you can see that those are actions she's always had because of this trust fund she set up for the kid. If that wasn't the person she was, she would have fallen into a trap. Thus, that just shows always be who you are, because that'll save you.
I think definitely talk about finances before you get married, and also talk about any kids that you've got. Just be on the lookout for that.
I might need to call Angie.
My question about am I the a-hole was mainly because there were actually many people in my circle who called me that because I persuaded my ex-fiancé to sign a prenuptial agreement. But for me, a prenup was important for several reasons. To secure my son's money. Now I know he wouldn't have been able to get his hands on it. 2, I started a small business in addition to my main job. Nothing big at the moment, but it's still mine. 3, I'm saving money so that I can eventually realize my dream of owning a house in Australia. Fun! And I didn't want to lose that money to him in a divorce. In retrospect, I can see how many red flags I overlooked on his part, and I will definitely be more careful in the future. And that's the end of that story, folks. OP, I'm glad you figured that out before you married him.
Yeah.
Yikes. Big old yikes. Make sure people don't have secret kids.
Yeah. And if they have a secret account, see how they...
Don't try to
If you have a
steal
secret
it.
account, show your hand just to see how they react. Because it might save you a lot of years. Because imagine she got into this... Well, she would have been fine because she had a prenup.
Yeah, but still, it's just annoying.
Yeah. My fiance refused to attend his brother's wedding because our daughter's not invited?
Well, we're a package deal, my guy.
Some backstory. Me, 27 female, and my fiance, 28 male, have known each other for about 3 years. Officially been dating for almost 2 years and engaged for a few months. I'm currently 6 months pregnant. He was previously married and has a stepchild, 6 male, and a biological child, 4 female. His ex is barely in the picture. We have both his children full-time. By the way, this comes from Cherry Princess on the r/Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Angie.
I'm Keon.
So, I have a child, 5 female, from a previous relationship, who we also have full-time. And her dad sees her periodically when his schedule allows it. Last year, his son was diagnosed with a serious medical condition, and because of the laws here, we couldn't get him into kindergarten, and the preschool he attended could not accommodate his medical needs. Because of that, and with our work environments, his parents, who are retired, said they would take him in for the school year until he was old enough to attend school down here. Amazing! We send money and are very involved, even though it's a long distance, and we already have everything in place for him to come home to us. Nice. We are completely a blended family. Even though his stepson is not biologically his, I see him as his son, and I see myself as a mother figure to him and treat him and his daughter just like I treat my own daughter. And my fiance does the same with my daughter. It's never been a concern or issue of treating any of the children differently. Okay, both of our families growing up were also blended families, so we are all welcome with open arms. Something to note before going into the story, we live out of state from both sides of the family. My family is from down south and his family is from up north. We try our best to take weekend trips to visit, but it's about a 6-hour drive to visit either side. Hoy. Now to the story. My fiancé brother is getting married in a few months. Due to us living out of state and him and his significant other also living in a different state than his family, I've only met him in person twice. But all went well. The wedding is going to be in the state that they live in. My fiancé was supposed to be his best man, and he was super excited about it. We had received the wedding invitation a few months ago, and I noticed on the invitation it only had my fiancé's name, my name, and his daughter's name on the invite. I asked about my daughter being invited, and my fiancé just brushed it off and said he was sure it was a mistake. A few weeks after that, I received an invitation from the bride for her bridal shower. The plan for the bridal shower, as we were all going to travel to the state they live in. The women, me, sister-in-law, and mother-in-law, were all going to the bridal shower while fiancé, brother-in-law, and father-in-law hung out at the groom's house with the groom. I asked what we would do about the kids, as I didn't want to just bring the kids if it wasn't specified. So my fiancé called his brother to ask. His brother said it would be fine. Our son would go with him, and our daughters would come with me. A few hours later, his brother texted him and told him they actually decided not to have children come to the bridal shower, and he didn't feel comfortable having the kids at his house because he has a dog that's unfamiliar around small children, which is completely understandable. It's going to be hard to find a babysitter for that, though.
Yeah, true, huh?
That being said, I just said I probably wouldn't be able to make it to the bridal shower due to being in an unfamiliar state, and I just don't feel comfortable hiring a stranger to watch them while we go to these events, but I'd still send something on the registry, and we would all see them at the wedding. Well, this brought to light that the invite for the wedding was indeed only for my fiancé, me, and his daughter, and that my daughter was excluded. His reason was being first that they didn't want any children at the wedding, even though my fiancé's son and daughter were both invited and expected to be at the wedding. The reason turned into he didn't know my daughter that well, and he didn't think our relationship would last, so he doesn't want people he doesn't know or think will be around at his wedding. Dude, your brother, that's the fiancé, your brother's fiancé.
Yeah.
I understand that except for that, me and my fiancé have been together for going on 2 years and have known each other longer than that. We are very serious about one another. It blew up into a whole thing. My fiancé said he wouldn't go to the wedding at all if the children weren't invited. His brother said some nasty things, basically insinuating that he dumped his son on his parents and how he probably dumped his unborn kid on them too, and some other insulting things.
What?
I told my fiancé I don't want him to not go because of us, but I also will not have my daughter feel like the red-headed stepchild, and how this could create a divide and show the children that one is different from the other when we are raising them as brothers and sisters. He agreed with me and still says he nor his son or daughter are going to the wedding, and then went no contact with his brother. He made it clear to his brother that he owes him and me an apologies for the things he said, and until he does that, he doesn't want anything to do with him. His brother has reached out a few times, still stating he wants him and his daughter and my son at his wedding, but no word about me or my daughter. My mom agrees with us and says we shouldn't budge and shouldn't bring my daughter somewhere or around people who treat her differently or make her feel unwelcomed, which I agree. His parents and his sister, though, keep telling him he needs to forgive his brother and go to the wedding. His mom is saying that no children at all are going to be at the wedding, and that my fiance's son and daughter were the only exceptions, and that we need to see his side of things. It's gotten to the point where his mom has tried to guilt trip him, and every few weeks they blow up at each other over this topic. I don't want it to seem like I am the one creating the divide between him and his family, but it feels like it because the issue resolves around me and my daughter. I've told my fiance multiple times if he wants to go to the wedding, I would be supportive, even though I wouldn't be in attendance because of my daughter. And he just tells me no, he's not going. And you can go to your favorite podcast platform, search up OK Storytime, and listen to stories just like this, wherever. We got 70 days of content. Check us out. Angie, any final thoughts before we blow through it?
I think I've spoken my piece.
Yeah, we're going to finish this story out. His parents have tried to talk to me about it and try to get me to reason with my fiance, but I just tell him it's his decision and he needs space, and that I can't make him choose to do it or not do anything. So I guess, are we the a-holes? It doesn't help that I'm super hormonal and emotional and feels like I'm just the cause of all of this when I don't want to have any conflict or divide because I love him and his family and our family. We have one comment. Can you move to a place that has schools that can accommodate your child's medical needs? Then you can take your stepson back. I actually live in a town that many people moved here to specifically for the special education program. OP says, unfortunately, we are unable to move from where we are due to our jobs and the issue stemming from him not originally being able to attend school down here is because our state does not require private daycares and preschools to have a nurse on staff, and staff is only typically trained in the basic first aid and CPR, and we need a nurse at least on staff in order to administer medical attention when needed while in care. I think like that's more logistics, but yeah, you are the reason that your husband's not going to the wedding, but that's a reason he needs to stand on. That's a hill he needs to die on, and he's choosing to do that because he loves you, and he's not going to be a part of this undivided family because he believes in an unconditional, loving, blended family.
Yeah, and it's not because like you're doing anything wrong or something like that. It's like they're saying that you're the reason, but
exactly,
you're not. It's not your fault.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Silly.
So
silly gooses.
You are the problem, but that's all right.
Yeah.
They're making you the problem.
Exactly.
My fiance expected me to provide for him while I'm pregnant.
He should be providing you with unconditional love and support.
I, 33 female, and my fiance, 34 male, have been experiencing some financial hardships lately. We used to DoorDash together, but my fiance found out his license was suspended due to late child support payments. It was honestly an oversight. Going to cost $600 to get it reinstated plus a payment plan to keep it. My fiance also wants his own car to DoorDash with. By the way, this comes from user Crinkle Grapes, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
Regardless, he hasn't been working since about 7 months now. I switched from DoorDash to working in a processing plant for steady income. Technically, I work for less wages than dashing, but the wear and tear on my car was becoming really concerning, and we couldn't afford repairs if it broke down. Some family drama happened that caused him to become homeless overnight about a month ago. Becoming homeless probably works in his favor because he gets away from an awful situation. I got him set up on some land my family owns with a tent, running water nearby, and even electricity for his PlayStation. I have a trailer, but he didn't pass the background check, so he can't live with me at the moment. So for the past 7 months, I've been solely supporting him, his daughter off and on, his growing large breed puppy, his 2 cats that stay with me, and whatever else he asks of me. I'm pregnant. I've had to take off work to take him to appointments and wherever he wants to go, plus my own appointments for the baby on top of that. Plus I have rent on my trailer, phone bills, his mobile internet service, his monthly ESO Plus account, which is an online game, his smokes, his devil's lettuce, dog and cat food, and litter, gas to and from where he is, about 30 miles one way, etc. I have to do his grocery shopping and deliver it too. Today, I'm having a pregnant woman overwhelmed with life moment, and I start telling him about how overwhelmed and emotional I am. He says, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, which irritates me. I'll admit. I tell him I need support and help right now because I'm struggling to keep up with our expenses. This leads to a fight. At some point, I come out and say I would like him to get a job, at least a temporary one, and I can get him a job where I work today. And I've offered this in the past. And he says, I would just like for you to respect the fact that I don't want to effing work for nobody. I'm effing tired of it. I've done it too much. I'm over it. I don't care to have an effing boss, because I will tell my boss to F off if I feel like they're being a wiener. That was verbatim, by the way. I left typos, but edited the cursing. So I said I was done supporting him and he could figure it out on his own. Oh my God! Oh, yes!
You did it!
Oh my God!
I did not think you were going to do that.
So many stories where it takes another 2,000 words before we get to that point.
You did it!
Am I the a-hole for cutting him off? I am his only financial support right now, so I understand if I'm the a-hole. I also know, being an emotional pregnant woman, I didn't write my messages out the best way. I'd post them too, but we've been fighting for over 2 hours now through text, and that's a lot of screenshots. Also, I know a lot of people will just tell me to dump him and move on. I'm not asking if we should date or not. I'm asking if I'm an a-hole for cutting him off financially and hoping he gets the hint that I can't do this on my own for much longer. Or am I being ridiculous and I need to wait longer and let him work what he wants to work when I finally can afford his license back?
Work where?
Oh my God.
Work where? He
Wait.
doesn't want, he has told you that no matter what, he doesn't want to work. Work where?
You had me in the first half. Comments. Comment 1, you got pregnant by a man who lost his license due to not paying child support for his other child or children. You are doing all of this to yourself, actively orchestrating your own financial and emotional ruin. You know you should break up, but you don't want to hear it. You're the a-hole to yourself and this child. You do not have time for this nonsense. A reply says, I just don't understand why women reproduce with guys who already have kids that they never support. Are they just convincing themselves that it'll be different because what they have is special? Comment 2, how does he expect to get a car, get his license reinstated, pay child support if he refuses to work? He expects you to do it. Dump this effing bum. This literal, actual bum. He won't ever get his crap together as long as he has you lighting yourself on fire for him. You're seriously worried about this guy having electricity to play PlayStation in an effing tent when the dude can't pass background checks to stay with you, which is a blessing in disguise, by the way. Girl, what are you doing? Comment 3, OP. He's not willing to work for a boss, not even to support his children. Think about that. His pride and ego are more important to him than his kids, including the one you're carrying. And the more you make demands of him, the more he'll view you as a boss. He can't pass a background check to live in a trailer park, but he's cool with that because his tent has a PlayStation. Great. The only reason I can think of to stay with a guy like this is a dire, crippling fear of being alone. First, it's not that bad. You'll be better off in all ways without him. But second, how hard can it be to find someone better than this? Like, do you know any single men who are not your boyfriend, not in jail, not on the offender registry, and not related to you? Because I feel like if you even know one guy who meets that extremely low standard, you should invite him over for dinner tonight. OP says, actually, in my area, all the poor qualities you listed is standard. I would rather be alone, which I'm okay with. Reply says, you should definitely do that. You're only the a-hole if you continue staying with him. Cut off every penny of support. Give him 30 days to find somewhere else to stay. Do not date him. Definitely do not marry him. He's not willing to do something he doesn't like, even to ease your burden, even to support his children. That is who he is. He is telling you this is who he is. Believe him. He won't change, and this will be the rest of your life if you don't do some immediate bud nipping. He doesn't want to work for a boss because he doesn't like it. But guess what? That's why they call it work, not fun. That's also why they pay you for it. If he can't or won't even do that much, why are you with him? He doesn't respect you. He doesn't value you. He isn't with you because he loves you and wants to spend your lives together making each other happy. He's with you because you enable his lazy, entitled, selfish behavior. He is a hobosexual and he's using you. End of story. We have some edits here. There were a lot of comments that misunderstood what I was trying to say. Maybe because I was trying to keep the post short. 98% of our relationship we have contributed equally and had agreements in place. The last 22 days have been the hardest on us because of a family issue that happened on his side. Not his fault either, but it left him homeless. I guarantee you whatever he told you is going on is not exactly how it happened or what went down.
Yeah.
I am recently pregnant, so my pregnancy is a recent and primary priority. He paid child support monthly. Where we're from, he gets a check yearly that he opted to go to his child support, but he has to apply for it. The paperwork didn't get filed correctly. It didn't go through, and he missed out for that year, which was 2023. It went unnoticed for that long. He was actively taking care of his daughter. He physically lived with us, 16, with all the teenage angst. I say was because the family feud that recently left him homeless brought tough decisions. While she could have lived with me at the trailer, it's boring there by herself. She's now with his parents for the time being and happy for the most part. We've been engaged for 2 years. We've been dating and known each other for much longer. In January of this year, his license was suspended, so he couldn't dash anymore by himself. I was dashing a little, but mainly focused on my schoolwork. He had to switch tactics because my car was breaking down. I got a job. He stayed to parent at home and take care of house chores. Other than the added stress, we were pretty happy. Him becoming homeless suddenly was the wrench that derailed all of our plans. While I didn't choose to procreate with a homeless bum, because at the time he was neither of those things, his sudden behavior change over the past couple weeks has been a stark contrast to the man I knew. And we have an update. After time to calm down and think about it, he did apologize to me. He said he understood why I did what I did. He admitted that after he lost his home of 6 years, he felt like a failure and less of a man. He admitted I didn't deserve that and understood why I wanted to cut him off and leave the relationship. By the way, we'll never cut you off from listening to full episodes with stories like this one. Just go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to stories or podcasts. Search OK Storytime. You've got the full archive in the palm of your hand.
He's the little baby that's whining about it now.
He's a loser, and if you get back together with him, you're going to get back together with a loser. And apparently you live in Loserville, USA. So you need to get out of there as fast as possible.
And go anywhere else.
Take all of this effort you're putting into trying to maintain a relationship with this guy and put it into figuring out how to get the F out of there. Please, for the love of all that is holy, do not get back together with this guy. He has asked for a compromise. While he is not stopping me from ending the relationship, which he couldn't do in any way, shape, or form because you are an independent adult capable of making your own decisions, he did make commitments to finish what he started for my family on the land. This family member is a hoarder. We agreed to help clear out their space and go through their belongings in exchange for him camping in their yard. He also wanted to remain friends for the sake of our child. He's looking for jobs now and is working on an arrangement for rides to and from town via a mutual friend of ours. He understands me cutting him off, but he did ask if I could keep paying his phone bill for one more month so he could have a higher chance of finding a job. Right now, he's living remotely about 30 miles away from town, and being without a phone would make it almost impossible. Phone bill is about $50 every 30 days. So I agreed. That's where we are now.
Yeah, that one, I think if he did that in a very open, hey, it's literally for me to find a job and I would have a really hard time without it and it'll just be this month. Sure. That's a fair one, and that does give him the best shot.
Give him a second month, a third month.
My ex cheated on me. Now she can't accept that I got engaged.
I think she really has a choice in that.
My ex and I met in our mid-20s through a mutual friend at a barbecue. She seemed almost too good to be true. Incredibly beautiful, but shy and introverted. We took our time getting to know each other before things became serious. When we got engaged a year later, I bought us a house with inheritance from my late uncle. By the way, this comes from Crushed Survivor 123, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you guys would do in the comments. Things were going great, and I suggested we plant a peach tree to signify new beginnings, which she loved. We were married not long after, and it was amazing. We had normal ups and downs, but she always made it a point to never go to bed upset with each other. Later, I was promoted, which meant more pay, but also more travel. I noticed she had been getting down more and wasn't being as intimate. She kept her phone close and stopped addressing things that upset her. I tried to talk to her, but she assured me she was fine and this was just a phase. Having no reason not to trust her, I let it go. She would sometimes stay overnight at her sister's place for girl time. The day I got that phone call was when she was supposed to be with her sister again. When I got home, I found out the devastating truth from her sister. My wife had been having an affair. Her ex had contacted her 5 months ago doing some redemption thing where he apologizes to people he's wronged to clear his karma. They began talking, then he convinced her to meet for coffee to show he was a changed man, and it developed into an emotional affair. My wife approached her sister for advice, who told her to take things slow and get it out of her system, which led to a physical affair 3 months later. My sister-in-law even offered to cover for my wife. She was in tears, apologizing and saying she never thought it would go this far. Liar! I was numb. When I confronted my wife, she broke down and admitted everything. I spent the following months in zombie mode. There was individual counseling for her and marriage counseling for us at her family's urging. In counseling, she was forthcoming about how it happened and how she hated herself for causing me pain. She mentioned how guilty she felt and how she tried to end it but was too weak. She said only after learning she was pregnant did she realize any further contact was toxic. When she went to end things, he became angry and vindictive. But thankfully, nothing more serious happened. She became withdrawn and struggled with guilt and shame. And after our son was born, we got a paternity test, and he was mine. But the more time I spent with her, the more I realized I didn't hate my wife. I loathed her. I couldn't see the woman I married, but instead saw his leftovers each time I looked at her. I decided to leave because I was afraid I'd do something I regret. She begged me not to and made the ridiculous offer of giving me a hall pass and letting me slap her if I wanted. I knew I had to get out. She was generous during the divorce, moved back with her parents, and signed a well-thought-out co-parenting plan. And 3 years later, I met my now fiancé by chance in a bookstore. We were discussing Egyptian mythology when this beautiful woman approached to correct my pronunciation of Egyptian gods and cities. I was impressed by her understanding and the fact that she's Egyptian herself. We exchanged numbers and eventually started dating. When I proposed to her in front of the peach tree I planted years ago. Okay, that's
The peach
romantic.
tree with your wife?
Oh.
With your ex-wife?
She ran into the house and came out with the ring as well. She was planning to propose herself because she was madly in love with me. It all worked out. My son told his mother what happened because he was present. My ex showed up that night in the rain, yelling about how could I do this? How could I propose in front of our tree? And that this isn't the end of us. I'm completely exhausted. I cannot go no contact because she's the mother of my child. But she's basically pestering me and my fiance. How do I convince her to move on without getting a restraining order? Edit, something that still bothers me is how she went back to someone from her past who had caused her so much pain. It's hard for me to understand why she would give him a chance to hurt her again. Edit 2, when my fiance presented me with the ring she was going to use to propose, it had an engraving to my pharaoh. I love this woman. And there are some comments. Just ignore her, block her everywhere you can. I mean, I guess you can't block her because you got a kid.
That's why you don't want the restraining order too,
Yeah.
probably. Isn't there like a level below a restraining order? I know you're probably saying you don't want to get that either, but...
Yeah, I think like this comment, I'm going to read this comment because it seems good. Comment 1 says, gray rock strategy. Don't communicate about anything other than the son. Don't get sucked into another discussion. It's not your place to convince her of anything. I think that's probably the best strategy.
I think the issue is she showed up at the house.
And
How do you prevent that
at that
part?
point, you just have to be like, don't even answer the door.
Yeah.
Comment 2 says, hey man, congrats on the engagement. That took a different turn at the end there. My only advice is to not talk about your fiance to your ex. And put up a non-emotional front every time you see her. Opie says, thank you, friend. And yes, I try by all means to not mention my fiance to my ex, even when she asks about her. At first, my ex was under the impression that I was trying to get even or something, and actually said she would wait until I came to my senses. But the engagement caused her to completely freak out and show up at my home in the night in the pouring rain. Her mother has even told me that she hardly speaks about anything other than the life we had, and how losing me has ripped her soul apart. She
Probably
shouldn't have cheated. Shouldn't have cheated then.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy solution to that. That is the consequence of her actions. It is what it is. Now she has to live with a regret for the rest of her life. No amount of therapy will fix that. And there is an update, folks.
The great comment advice. Like, yeah, she's the one that cheated. She had an affair that she wanted to go through with. Ruined it herself.
Yeah, there's I think the gray rock method is probably the best thing to do. Maybe get her parents involved so they can kind of get a handle on her. But just keep trying to keep your distance as much as you can. My son absolutely loves the outdoors, so I offered my backyard for his birthday since we couldn't go to our usual spots due to the ongoing situation. He also requested that my ex sleep over. He wanted to imitate a scene from one of his adventure shows where both parents sit on either side of the child, roasting marshmallows around a campfire. I had no intention of denying my son's birthday wishes, but I couldn't have my ex sleep in the same tent as me and my son. That would be disrespectful to my fiance. And even though she said she understood, it was clear she wasn't okay with it. My ex took advantage of this, saying how much she was looking forward to spending the night with her 2 men and buying excessive camping equipment. She was trying to rub it in my fiance's face. I had to tell her to stop several times, and she only relented when I threatened to invite her sister. Since our divorce, my ex has had a burning hatred for her sister. She acknowledges her role in destroying our marriage, but blames her sister for encouraging the affair. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're really throwing the blame off yourself there. It's gotten so bad that she refuses to let her sisters spend significant time with our son, which caused my ex-sister-in-law severe depression. A Redditor suggested I purchase a multi-room tent so my fiance could be included. I immediately went out to get one. My ex wasn't happy about it, but was glad to be under the same roof as me. During the birthday celebration, my son was on cloud 9. He ran around pretending to be an explorer discovering new land. When evening came, I made the fire and my ex provided marshmallows. He excitedly sat between us, roasting his marshmallow. What I didn't expect was that after we took pictures and made s'mores, he handed my fiancé a stick and marshmallow and sat next to her to make his second s'more. It's a mystery how something this pure could come from the mess that was my relationship with my ex. By the way, you know what's not a mystery? The fact that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
That son is probably adorable and really just like, he's out here sitting, he's like handing stuff to the fiance too.
He's like, do you want a
marshmallow
s'more
with me now?
Here you go. It's
Like,
time for
"Aw."
s'more. Yeah, that's really sweet.
And I'm glad he got the wholesome birthday that he wanted, despite
Yeah,
all of
despite all
that
this, like,
craziness.
Drama that's going
Yeah.
on with his parents.
You guys are at least doing the
Co-parenting
kid co-parenting right.
My ex asked for a moment of my time. We stepped into the kitchen and she apologized for her behavior the day I proposed, but not for her actions afterward. She told me she still sees me as her husband in her mind, so the thought of me giving my heart to another terrified her. She said she never wanted to cause me pain and would give anything to undo her mistakes. She mentioned how happy she was when the paternity test showed I was the father, because she thought it was a new beginning and that our son was proof of our love. I thanked her for sharing, but told her I was happy with where I was in life and hoped she would find someone to make her happy as well. She said she meant what she told me on our divorce day and will wait for me. I left the kitchen exhausted because nothing I said got through to her. We called it a night with my fiance and I sleeping in one room with a tent and my ex with my son in another. All in all, a good birthday for my son, but not a good night for me. And that is the end of that story.
Hey, well, I mean, yeah, that still doesn't sound great, but maybe slightly on the better path somehow.
Yeah, hopefully. You
I'm
guys
not
are,
like
you
that
know.
wasn't great, but she didn't try anything.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that's something. But that is the end of the story and the end of this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you
And see you tomorrow.